What's going on? What's going on, my good people? Welcome to another episode of Let the Film Speak. I am one of your hosts, Chop. Here with my main man, Willie Jack. Willie Jack, how you living, my dog?
Hey man, feeling good, feeling great, man. Real quick, man. Right out the gate, right out the door, man. Hot off the presses. Shout out to Day One Gang Jarrell in the building, man. Y'all see what's going. Hey, hit the like button coming through the door, man. Hit the like, but just that's the that's the energy we need. Day One Gang Jarrell. That's what we talk about, baby. Right off the top, man. Hit the like button when you come through the door. Shout out to our dog, man. That's Day One Gang right there.
For sure. Shout out Jarrell, man, and everybody else, and anybody else that's in here right now, man. Go ahead and put your name in there. Check in with us, man. Let us know you in the building, man. Of course, we're gonna shout you out like we always do, man. We got a good show for y'all today, as always. You know, this is draft season, and we've been going through each and every position group of this upcoming draft. And today, man, like my dog Willie Jack likes to say, we getting into the big uglies. We going down there to them trenches, man. We going out to them trenches. Some of those guys that Willie Jack had to face each and every week, put his face in the dirt. I ain't gonna tell all his business, but
hey, did what I had to do. Just know that.
You did what you had to do, Willie Jack.
For sure.
All right, I got you, man. But yeah, man, we're gonna get into the trenches today, and we're gonna talk about some offensive tackles, man. Some offensive tackles, guys that's gonna be in here protecting quarterbacks, run blocking, doing everything they need to do, man, to help lead their teams to victory, hopefully in the future, man. So we're gonna jump into that today. But before we do that, of course, we gotta talk about the house rules, man. House rules, the same as always. That's like, that share, that subscribe, man. Help us out, man. We've been doing this for y'all. We love y'all. We're gonna keep doing it for y'all. And of course, we want y'all to become the newest members of the film fam. So go ahead and hit that like, that share, and that subscribe button, man. Share the wealth. Talk to us, we talk back. And of course, don't forget to hit that notification bell. How else are you gonna know when me and Willie Jack got something going on at the crib? And you are invited, and I guarantee you we won't let you down. All right. So go ahead and do all those things, man. And like I said, man, we'll take care of you. All right. Willie Jack, let's start this show off, man. We're gonna start off the way we always do, man. We got some news, my dog. We got some news, a few different signings. Like I said, man, not as much news as when we first started, when we first got into this offseason. But hey, we got some news for you. Things are still happening. Pieces are still moving. Things are still coming into place for a lot of teams, man. We're waiting on some people to come and find deals. So we definitely gonna jump into that. But first and foremost, we got to deal with DJ Chark, man, former Jaguars wide receiver, DJ Chark, and former Lions receiver. Jaguars, then the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
He agrees to a 1-year deal with the Carolina Panthers, man. In this deal, he received $5 million guaranteed. Also contains $3.92 million for a signing bonus. And I don't know if you know much about this, Willie Jack, but he has 4 void years for salary cap purposes in this deal too. Maybe we can touch on that a little bit, but he's a guy that's been flashing talent for the years that he's been in the league, man. We see a little bit here. We know he's athletic. He's fast. I think he ran a 4.3, and he has the height, has the size, has the athletic ability. He, like I said, he's flashed a little bit, but never seemed to fully blossom, as a legit, number 1 or 2 receiver, So I do like the move for him going to the Carolina Panthers, of course, with them getting rid of DJ Moore and that trade that they made. Now you bring him over, and maybe he's under the wing of a veteran like Adam Thielen, and they get a chance to try to build this team. Willie Jack, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, man. I like Chark, and just like you said, man, he's a guy. Well, he was a size weight, height weight speed guy coming in. So like prototype guy, he was around 6'2" or so, right around 205, 210 pounds. Like you said, ran 4.3, and I want to say, did I say? I think it was LSU, if I'm remembering right. I want to say LSU, and just like you said, man, it's like still hasn't really taken that next kind of step, or like kind of really. I guess establish himself as a real kind of up and coming guy, kind of like that process we saw from like a guy like Scary Terry McLaurin, to where like you had a couple kind of under the radar years of production, and then your name actually kind of gets mentioned in that next tier of circles, and then you produce again, and now, like I said, like your name just starts coming up in the next level or next tier of receiver until you hit the bank, and now you're getting cashed out for 20 of them things a year. You know what I mean? Until you get to that point, and so he hasn't like made that progression. But just like my dog Chop was saying, man, from a from a size and speed perspective, like I said, the raw materials are there. You know what I mean? 6'2", 205, run 4.3. nobody teaches that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now it's all about, like I said, man, finding a place where he can actually grow and develop, and maybe begin that process, man, of ascending into some of the potential that his natural ability, has lent for him. So 1 year deal makes sense. Same thing like the 1 year deal he just came off of with the Lions, and so he's still looking for that year, man, where he really put something on tape, man, to get some cashed out. So hopefully it works out. Just like my dog said, man, going down there with Carolina, Adam Thielen in the building as well, maybe help on some of the nuance of playing the position, body position, and timing. You know what I'm saying? Little tips and tricks in his route running itself. And so could be a very good situation for him, man, as far as improving his stock going forward.
Yeah, and then another note on top of that too, Willie Jack. It's almost, well, we know it's a fresh start because it's a new team, but it is also a fresh start for him in terms of trying to build his chemistry with whoever the quarterback they is as they about to bring into the door. Of course, with them having the number one overall pick, we know they're going quarterback. It's either going to be C.J. Stroud or it's going to be Bryce Young, and he has the opportunity to get that impression, and a lot of times what it is when in terms of these receivers and how successful they can be is it comes down to just building that relationship with their quarterback. And if he can start to build that relationship with their quarterback and build that trust, then maybe he becomes a favorite target, and maybe
Very
that's
good point.
how his career gets an opportunity to, start to rock it up or start to shoot up and start to go up that ladder. So that's another part of that which presents that opportunity for him too.
No, and that's a very good point, man. And I didn't even think of that at all. Like you said, like he's got first dibs on this new hot shot quarterback who's coming in at number one. And so if it's going to be C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, he's going to be close enough in age to these guys as well. And so, like I said, it can help. It's like just natural bonding or chemistry. All that stuff can be built off of some style of organic relationship outside of the building, outside of the field. And so that can only, and especially when you're receiving quarterback, man, like you can only, that bond is already super important. And if you can have something off the field, then that can even just take that much further. And so, no, that's a very good point right there. I didn't even think about that. And honestly, depending on how he does, let's say if it's another mediocre year or another year where he didn't necessarily show out, so to say, but if he's locked in and tied in with numero uno in the building, this new number one quarterback, then that maybe gets him another year where they may have been ready to just move forward and like, well, he didn't really hit here like we thought he would. But let's say, like you said, man, relationships go a long way. C.J. Stroud loves this kid now. You know what I'm saying? They hang out on Wednesdays after film study. They go get Buffalo Wild Wings. Like now, CJ's and they're like, nah, man. Hey, I need DJ back, man. I need him.
Yeah,
I need more time
especially
exactly.
Especially if they really come to love whoever they draft. We've seen it with and we talk about like Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that. We've seen it with him, like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, where he had Davante Adams, but he kept his Randall Cobb too. You know what I'm saying? It was like
he taking the game with him.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even though those guys, not now, Alan Lazard has went over to the Jets. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, yeah,
he's done it before with James Jones back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Brought James Jones
job
back.
Security, man. Job security.
And so, no, that's a very good point. Yeah. Get in. Hey, yeah. It's not always what you know; it's who you know.
For sure.
Sometimes it's who you know.
For sure. Yeah. On to the NFC champions, man. The Philadelphia Eagles. They add an extra year onto All-Pro offensive tackle Lane Johnson's contract, man, which is now worth a little bit over $33 million, man. And then the deal that includes $30 million guaranteed, man. The deal now keeps him under contract through 2026. At first it was under 2025, but it was 2026 now with them added that extension on there. This also will lower this cap hit for the 2023 season, which of course will make a little bit of room. And we know we're hearing rumors about them trying to, get something done with Jalen Hurts, and we'll see if something happens there. But that does open up a little bit of room this year on their as far as their money goes, to spend some money elsewhere and maybe lock in Jalen Hurts, for a long term and for his deal. And he's a valuable part to the team, to say the least. We talked about that offensive line all year and how they've been people movers, and no matter which defensive line they were going against, it was like, All right, come on, bring it on. You know what I'm saying? And they held their own, did more than held their own. They dominated, all year long in this season, and they were able to, do what they needed to do. And Lane Johnson was a huge part of that. So locking him up, I totally understand why they're doing that. Offensive tackle is another one of those positions, man, where it's the guys are lasting a little bit longer than you expect. Lane Johnson, I believe, is 32, 33. You know what I'm
Yeah, he
saying?
could be right around 33 or so.
Adding 3 more years on that, some people may look at that as, oh man, he's getting older, but he's still playing at a very, very high level. So I see exactly why they went ahead and added the extra year on there. And then, like I said, created some cap space for, anybody else they want to do a deal with.
No, it definitely makes sense, man. Like I said, he's a guy, he was very, man, and you know what, man? Shout out to our dog, man. No Budget the Podcast, Brother Red in the building. I want to say he's an Okie from Muskogee, man. I think he went to Oklahoma, if I'm remembering right, Lane Johnson, when he came out. I want to say he came from Oklahoma, but was a great size as we see now. He was a terrific athlete coming in. He's one of those guys that he may have ran 5-second 40 or a sub 540, but this is at O-line now where you're going to probably get times closer to like 5.2, 5.3. You know what I mean? So the times could be generally +5. So sub 5 or right there at 5 point something is or 5.0 something is a phenomenal time. But like I said, great athlete. And just like my dog said, man, he's rebounded nicely from a couple injury plagued years. And so he's a guy, he came into the league and he had a nice run. He was a Pro Bowler during the first stretch of his tenure there at the Eagles, and then he had a couple injured years, a couple beat up years. Matter of fact, day one game Jarrell in the building, man. He's an Eagles fan, so he probably knows what I'm talking about. But he got injured and beat up a little bit, and then now on the other side of that, so now this being the second act of his career, he's rejuvenated his career or rejuvenated himself, or he's fully healthy and he's back in his groove and he's playing like an all-pro. He's a guy that if you're talking right tackle in the league right now, or like let's say up to last season, there's two names you would say. You would say his name and Tristan Wirfs as the two guys at that position across the league who are kind of leading the way. And so
sure.
Always happy to see a player get paid, man. Y'all know what's going on over here, man. You know we love to see it, man. Hashtag love to see it. Y'all know what's going on, but no, phenomenal guy or phenomenal player. The deal makes sense. And the only thing now for the Eagles, man, is starting because like you said, he's 33. Jason Kelsey's 36, 37. They lose a right guard. Isaac, see you later. We got him with the Steelers, though. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate you. But so it's almost time now for a unit that's been such a strength of that team. They build from the inside out on both sides, inside and out on the offensive and defensive line. They're losing guys now. Some guys are getting at that point where they're going to age out. And so it's time now to kind of start rebuilding those ranks a little bit. But to your point though, man, about getting older, I'm not gonna lie, man. Them tackles been sticking around. Your dog, Andrew Whitworth. Yeah, Andrew Whitworth, I think from the
That's
Bengals.
What I'm saying, man.
Yeah, came over to the Rams, man, played till 4. He could have still played. If y'all wouldn't have won that Super Bowl, he might have chased another year. And y'all needed him. Y'all needed him too. So he walked away still playing above the line ball. You know what I mean? Maybe he wasn't a top 5 guy at the position anymore. He was still a top 15 guy. And so we have seen, man, where it's if your body could take the pounding, man, which is in the trenches, man, that's what it's all about, man. If your body could take that pounding, then these guys can stick around for a while. And so, yeah, if he's 33 and playing at the level he's playing, man, at this day, especially just seeing a guy like Andrew Whitworth, man, I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing and still playing at a very high level for the next 3-4 years, man. We've seen it. We've started to see it.
And speaking more to that, Trent Williams is 34 years old. Tyron Smith, tackle for the Cowboys, is 32 years old. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of guys, man, that are playing at an older age at the tackle position. Even matter of fact, even though he's been injured a lot, now he's a guy that's a little bit different than the guy with name, but at 40 years old, Jason Peters during the middle of the season got a contract. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To come back and play tackle. So
yeah, and he played good ball. His age is like 36, 37, like his last, maybe not his very last year in Philly, but the 2 of the last 3 years he's in Philly, like age 36, 37 or something like that. He was still a top 15.
Yeah, he's playing some really good ball.
Exactly, still playing very well. And so even the guys like no, I was gonna say no, but I think he retired around this age. So there we know. But no, man. But like I said, man, it's definitely a position, man, that lends itself to longevity. Like I said, if you can, keep your body together, especially these days, man. Every other week, man, there's something else, some other style of treatment. LeBron's hollering at the Kobe genius German doctor, man. So like I said, these days, man, there's if you want to keep playing and you can stand the beating, man, then there's ways to keep the body going for sure. And then a couple comments, man. right here on topic. Our guy, man, Joseph Kenny, brother Red, man, no watch the podcast, hold us down, man. Said Johnson hasn't given up a sack in 2 years, and I'm glad you brought that up because I saw that as well. It's like his last credited sack against was like a year and a half ago, so it's two seasons. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that as well. He also jumped in the comments, man, said the two best tackles in the league, Sooner alumni. He's an Oklahoma fan, I should say. So left tackle, he's talking about Trent Williams for sure out there in San Francisco. Then right tackle, Lane Johnson. And man, if you pick that tandem, man, you had a hard argument about a hard argument to put two bookends up against those guys, man. And so that's definitely a good statement there. And then last, real quick, man, our dog, Day One Gang, Jarrell, when we were talking about that camaraderie with DJ Chark and what he can possibly build with CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, he was saying he was using the Bengals as an example in the chat. I didn't know I missed it, but he was talking about, we look at the Bengals, for example, and just like say that camaraderie or chemistry you have with the receiver, and he's talking, of course, of Joe Beasley, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase, man. And so, when guys can connect on a different wavelength, man, then like I said, the player is only that much better. Like before things went crazy in Pittsburgh, man, Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger, you know what I mean, just connected on a different level. So now, you know what I'm saying, like, man, he looked at me the right way, man, I'm going up top. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? He rubbed his hands too long. I'm taking him up top. You know what I mean? Like, little things that neither one of them, nobody knows but them two. You know what I mean? But that's the type of chemistry and camaraderie that can happen, man, especially at positions like that. And so, very good comment by our dog, Day One Gang, Jarrell, for sure.
For sure. On to the next, Willie Jack. And I'm going to go ahead and go to Washington first, and then we'll tackle this other one last because I got a feeling we might be on that one for a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. But, man, the Harris Rails Group submitted a bid to purchase the Washington Commander, a group that also includes former Hall of Fame basketball player Magic Johnson, man. They submitted a bid that meets the $6 million asking price by Snyder, to purchase the Washington Commanders. Now, nothing has came out yet as far as like if it's been accepted or what the case may be, but there's movement, and I think there's something that's going to happen sometime this off season. Don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, but I do have a feeling that this is going to take place sometime this off season. They're going to change ownerships and continue to move forward, especially with all the things that's been happening with Washington, man. All the different things they've been doing, all the different scandals and debacles, and everything that's been surrounding this Washington team. I think we can all agree that it's about time for a difference in ownership, which will make me a little bit more happy, for the overall team, for those players, and for the whole organization moving forward. Willie Jack, what's your thoughts on this one, man?
No, same thing, man. It's time. It's past time to get these nine. So I had to put my stuff on. Sorry about that. It's past time to get some of these. And I want to speak. Not politically correct, but I don't want to go off the deep end. He was a trash owner, man. It was time to get a guy like him out of the league, out of that position, a position that's so coveted, that's so limited, that's so that is so close knit and tight knit, the old boys club and etc. Y'all know what's going on. And so getting a guy like that who abused all the prestige and privilege that even let him sit in that chair. You know what I mean? Because not to say he's not wealthy and he wasn't a fan and he wasn't et cetera, but like I said, man, we need to shake that up. And now we got Magic Johnson in there for $6 billion. Hope it should go through and buy that, or I don't see a reason why it wouldn't go through. But $6 billion, man, setting a new high water mark. It was $4.5 billion for the Broncos a couple years ago from the Bowen family, and now the Commanders. And it just goes to show the power and prestige of the brand itself. Because the Broncos have a history of, well, no, I shouldn't say that. They have a more recent history of championship contention, I was going to say. But the Redskins, of course, have their own championship history for sure. Gibbs in the gang, Doug Williams, shout out to you, sir. So they've got championships in their past as well. But, this side of the new millennium, the Broncos have had some style of championship pedigree, and the Commanders haven't. And it doesn't matter. Doesn't change the price to you in China. You want to play in the NFL, man, they get a $1.5 billion premium on the cost of the Broncos from just 2 years ago when that sale went through. And like I said, and so it's just astounding, man, how much money, like I said, how much money the league is worth, how much money it generates. And that's why I will never have an issue with a player getting paid. We'll talk about whether or not I would have paid him. I never have an issue cashing them checks for nobody cashing them checks, man. Daniel Jones, that shout out to you, bro. $40 million a year for 17 touchdowns. Do your thing, my dog. And so, but no, I'm happy to see the ownership changing hands. I'm glad to see a person of color, a prominent black man, being a part of that group in Magic Johnson. So I'm all for it, man. Hopefully it goes through, and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and then here's the other thing too, Willie Jack, that makes me a little bit happy about it. And of course, I was one of the people that was for the move of by Eric Bieniemy to the move from OC of the Chiefs to OC of the Washington Commanders. And this will also make me happy because it gets rid of that baggage above his head, the organization and the bad juju that that organization has right now, and now he gets to operate under what we hope to be a well-oiled and functioning organization that will do right by him and make sure that these coaches and everybody that's involved has everything that they need to be successful. So I'm excited to see what comes of that, and how Eric Bieniemy can begin to establish a little bit more, of himself on this league, and really truly eliminate everything that's above his head in terms of the reasons why people feel like he hasn't been given a head coaching opportunity. So that's another part of that I'm kind of excited about as well.
Gotcha. For sure.
For sure. And last but not least, man, of course, man, I know y'all been hearing a lot of news about this all season long, but there's been some more information to come out since we last did this episode, and it's on Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson released a statement that revealed that he asked for a trade back on March the 2nd. Okay. Today, as we speak, it's March 29th. That was at the beginning of this month. It's almost April 2nd, So he asked for a trade a little while back. And he also mentioned throughout his statement that the Ravens showed no interest in meeting his value, what he felt like his value was. He also went on to explain his love for the game, his love for the Ravens. And on the other side, the Ravens continue to say that they want Lamar. Okay. And this was just reported. It was reported that Lamar had turned down a deal that included 133 million at signing, 175 million guaranteed for injury, and 200 million in total guarantees. So I don't know exactly what the number it was that he was looking for, but it was reported that that's what he turned down. And if there was a deal, just looking at those numbers, that probably would have made him the second highest paid quarterback in the field behind Deshaun Watson. Woody, what's your take on this news, man, that you've heard coming from Lamar Jackson, coming from the organization, or just overall where you falling on this?
Yeah, honestly, the that it came out that he asked for a trade, that doesn't, like I said, it's another thing, man. Doesn't change the price of tea in China. You know what I'm saying? So I guess just for the simple sake of saying he made it an official request, or that's when it came out, or whatever the case, like that is what it is. The money as well, man. And I hate how, like the three, just like you said, the three categories of guarantees 2 years ago, they weren't mentioned. There was the established, or kind of quote unquote the kind of go by guaranteed at signing number that was publicized, or that was used, and that was kind of the number, that was the carrot that was used as a measuring stick, that initial number. And then and not to say that he's the only guy, but now that's coming and being more of a prevalent thing, especially with this Lamar Jackson stuff. So 133 million guaranteed. And then now some of the other numbers, I've seen different figures on that as well, as far as how much more for injury, how much more for over the course of like I don't want to hear about none of that, man. 133 guaranteed ain't enough. It just flat out ain't. And I don't want to hear anybody talk about I want you back. Well, if you want him back, you be there. If you want him back, he wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? If y'all agreed on the value of his services for your organization, if you say you want him, if you want him, you go get him. It don't matter what it costs. Ask the Broncos how much it costs to go get Peyton Manning. Don't matter. They wanted him. You know what I'm saying? So we've seen it. We've seen it happen. We've seen it before. And so, like I said, man, there's a lot of double talk on both sides. But be that as it may. But I I don't know, man. I think nothing's going to happen till after the draft. It's been like the popular talk as far as how draft conversation is going to go, etc. So people want to use these assets for the draft homework they've already done this year, and then after the draft, I do definitely expect to be there to be a move done. There's two guys that could come in tomorrow and play football for you as a starting NFL quarterback in this draft. There's two. There's six to eight teams that need quarterbacks. Now I know of that 6 to 8 that we would generally think of. 4 or 5 of those already came out and washed their hands and said, "No, well, we don't want no part of that." Well, it's all good until it's time for somebody to line up. And so, even as far as that goes, man, I'm not so worried about that because, like I said, if you don't hit on one of those two, I don't know how strongly anybody feels about Will Levis. I don't know how strongly everybody's going to feel about Anthony Richardson. And then if you are predisposed toward Anthony Richardson's skill set or what he could be, then Lamar is even more attractive to you. So, like I said, I'll say it, man. Until it's actually time to line up, man, I'm not believing anything that any of these teams said. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. As far as the money, man, Baltimore can dress it up and make it sound good and give us 3 guaranteed numbers versus et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The one that counts, the one that gets measured, that don't change the goalpost. The one that counts, or that they all count. I'm not discounting any money, but the one that matters, the pretty girl at the pageant, the one that we need to talk about, the one that's generally used as the measuring stick for how well you did your contract, Baltimore. That number was 133, and that number was horse malarkey. So, boom, 133 as that number. Now, we're talking in relative terms, of course. I'm not turning down 133 million. I hate when people even use that argument. Well, we're not talking about me and you, Brody. We're talking about a guy. So relative to what's going on, because it's always somebody. But it's always one, Chop. Relative to what we're talking about, 133 is insignificant. 133 is a slap in the face. 133 is disrespectful. 133 is less than Deshaun. It's less than Russell Wilson. It's less than any number of guys that hover around that top 5 mark. It's not good. No, or at least that top 3 mark or something like that. So 133 is not enough. I don't want to hear you dress it up and tell me how pretty it is if I get to know her a little bit. 133 ain't good enough, Baltimore. You can say the other numbers when it's time to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Give it to me up front, then let me hear about all the ancillary other numbers as well.
So let me ask you this, Willie Jack. Do you feel like the Browns messed up the market by the deal that they made with Deshaun Watson?
I don't at all, man. I guess I can say I do because of if it wasn't like the league's been this conversation about guaranteed contracts didn't just show up in 2021 or 2022 with Deshaun Watson. That's the thing about it. And Deshaun Watson technically isn't the first like fully guaranteed quarterback in the league. Now his is the one that's used as the catalyst for this whole impetus between the Ravens and Lamar because the money is more substantial. It's in that division and of everything that went along with it. But Kirk Cousins was fully guaranteed with the Vikings for 2-3 years. Now that number was $80 million over 2 years or whatever the case, but it was fully guaranteed. So we've seen guaranteed contracts, and it's been like I said, there's been grumblings. If you read the right reports or listen to the right pundits or whatever, they'll tell you that the NFLPA, this has been a push or an agenda for the players that's been looked at for years now. But you've got to get to the point where there's the right player at the right time that somebody can take and make that stand. And so now Deshaun, it happened with Deshaun because kind of like we talked about before. Well, once Cleveland and Atlanta showed their hands and showed their own quarterbacks in-house that, hey, we're over here flirting with the pretty girl at the party now. Well, both those guys were like, well, you can't come back home here, or I'm not still coming back home. And so Cleveland, who was in a position to compete because that Baker team that was his injury year, but the year before that, they were in the playoffs. They won a playoff game, and they were in a position to still look to compete. Now, were they going to take the league by storm? Were they going to be put above the Chiefs or the Bills? No, but they were in the mix of competing. And so now you lose that, or Deshaun was going to Atlanta. The Browns, and then Baker made it known, like, no, you can't come back over here. Hell no, I'm going too. And so the Browns were going to be left holding zilch. And so that's why it was a leverage play. Deshaun's going to Atlanta, except for, I'd rather be in Atlanta. Chilling, kicking it, wings, doing my thing, all the other stuff that can go on. But for $230 guaranteed, I go chill in the snow in Cleveland. That's how it happened. So it was just the leverage, and they got themselves back to a corner. But like I say, I don't think if it wasn't going to be Deshaun that happened then, if it wasn't going to be Lamar, there were talks of a guaranteed contract when Peyton Manning was leaving the Colts to go to Denver. If Peyton would, because that's what I'm saying. Like when a player, a certain style of player at a certain echelon or certain level in this league, etc. So that's been something that's been on the horizon. And now Lamar Jackson is a guy, and I'm not saying he's got the greater good of the league or the players on his mind, but he doesn't have to be. It doesn't take anything away from his crusade, I guess, if that's what he feels he's worth, that he's going out there and seeking his worth. Because, like I said, this league will throw you away tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I will never spare, I'm not sparing 30, 32, 70, 60, and 70-year-old billionaire white men. I'm not saving you any pennies in your checkbook, Brody. You know what I'm saying? When the Commanders just sold for $6 billion for doing what exactly over the last 30 years? I don't want to hear about I don't want to hear about your money woes. Dan Snyder, Haslam with the Browns, another terrible owner. I don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? And so, no, I don't think it messes up the market. Now, maybe we don't like the name that's being put forward we don't like the name it is right now. Because if this was Joe Burrow next year, I don't think it'd have this type of attitude or tune that we're getting with Lamar. You know what I'm saying? If it's Joe Burrow next year, whose deal is up next year, I don't think that it's the same type of clamor and subtle jabs at his character and now his work ethic and now his integrity as a player. You know what I mean? I don't know if we get that if it's a Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Now, what if Patrick Mahomes would have decided, 10 for 450 with all this other stuff and all that? Yeah, that sounds cool. I'd rather just have 5 for 300 guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? So if it was Patty, you know what I'm saying? So we don't like the character, or we being as far as just, media and the overarching public opinion as far as it sounds. That's what I'm talking when I say we. But we don't like the person it is. We don't like, or not to say there's a personal thing about Lamar, but we don't like him for this role. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you may be an actor, we don't want you to play Batman, bro. We don't like you for this role. You know what I mean? And so Lamar's not the guy that he's not the guy that's rallying, I guess, the public perception, the public troops, and instead, like I said, man, that's the issue. But if this is Joe Burrow next year, if this was Patrick Mahomes 3 years ago, I dare say it either been done and wouldn't even been the issue. They'd just announced the numbers, or people be calling Kansas City and Cincinnati crazy for not locking up their MVP level quarterback 4 years under 30. You know what I'm saying? Except all the other things that are going on. And I say MVP, and Joe Burrow doesn't have one yet. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. So, that's the issue with this, is that Lamar's not the right guy for it, I guess, per the perception of 32 Social security aged white men.
I think the key is, I really want to know what Lamar's asking price is. I really want to know what his number or how much he wants guaranteed or what it is, because I'm not going to sit up here and say that I believe that he wants 230 guaranteed, you know what I'm saying, or 250 guaranteed, whatever Watson's number is. I'm not going to sit up here and say that that's what he wants. But I will also say that I'm on the side of one mistake doesn't just because one team made a mistake and did what they did, I don't think that other teams will follow suit, and that's kind of my opinion on it. But should he get a bag? Yeah, he should definitely get a bag. They should definitely be able to work something out and pay that man, give him some money. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I would want to see really what Lamar's asking price is. What is it in the terms that he's not agreeing with? Because to be honest, a lot of people are mentioning, all right, it's the guarantees or it's this and it's that. But really, Lamar Jackson really hasn't come out and said what he specifically is asking for. You know what I mean? It's a lot of numbers coming out and saying, all right, this is what was offered. This is what he turned down. But I want to know, what does he want? What does he want that a part of his contract that the Ravens are not willing to give him, or whatever the case may be, or other teams not willing to give him at that, because other teams haven't even, shot their shot at him as well throughout this process. Now I'm also say this too. I value, even though he does have an MVP, Lamar Jackson does, and he has that part of the leverage. I would value, me personally as an owner, would value a Joe Burrow or, of course, a Pat Mahomes, over Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So to what you were saying, Willie Jack, yeah, I agree. Yeah, with those guys, if those numbers, if their time was coming, I think teams would be more willing to do that. But I don't
Well,
know.
but see, that's the point and I'm glad you said that, bro. And I'm sorry I did cut you. I just caught myself. I cut you off. I'm
You're
sorry,
fine.
but
Go ahead.
I'm glad you said that because like I've had this conversation or debate with other people. You know what I'm saying? And I get what you're saying. It's not a question of like for me, it's not a question of who I value more. Because yeah, I value Patrick Mahomes above Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? I value, you know what I'm saying, Joe Beasley above Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? But that's because of like that's personal preference and etc. or style of play. But that doesn't matter because when Daniel Jones hits the market and signs for $40 million, you know what I'm saying? It don't tell me because of what he doesn't like. No, value your individual accomplishments to this point, your individual production on the field, even because Daniel Jones again, 40 million for 17 touchdowns this last year. Shout out to you, my boy. I don't know if he's ever had 20 touchdowns in the season. He's got $40 million next year. So I don't want to hear about on-field success. I don't want to hear about postseason success. I don't want to hear about
But see, this is what I'm saying.
award recognition. What I'm saying is those things those things aren't what impact market value. Like
No,
the
you're
way
right.
that's what I'm saying. So his market value is it cannot be diminished for those things. And so, like I said, so like it because nobody values Daniel Jones above there's 15 quarterbacks we're going to name before we get into the realm of Daniel Jones. And then after that, it's just a group of just guys, and he'll just sit in that room. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm getting at. And then, like I said, now the kicker that we're using, like, well, the guaranteed on, okay, it is what it is, man. But the point is, those arguments are so we choose when we use those arguments and knocks against people, and it's getting chosen and brought up to the forefront for Lamar, and it's never been an impetus of getting anyone else paid value based on their on-field or accolade value or not. It's never used against them. And so I don't like that it's only used for Lamar.
You right, and I don't know if it's only used for Lamar because I put like this: if it's hard, this is the reason why it's such a difficult subject is because the bottom line is it's 32 different organizations that are a part of this. You know what I'm saying? There's 32 different decision makers. You know what I'm saying? Which makes it so tricky. It's so much of a matrix that you can't really pinpoint an exact thing or exact exact talent that each team is going to be looking for and what they're looking to pay. You know what I'm saying? Teams are going to value different people differently. You know what I'm saying? Which is my more so my point. And my thing is, although the New York Giants just sat here and paid Daniel Jones $40 million, would you as an owner sit back and say, okay, they paid Daniel Jones? Well, Jared Goff, your contract is up. I'm finna pay you $50 million.
But no, check this out though. Jared Goff already had his time in the sun. It's not Jared Goff's time now. Because when Jared Goff came up, but what I'm saying is, I'm glad you said that because when Jared Goff came up, he wasn't worth the $35 million that the Rams gave him, and Detroit's still paying that contract now. And so that's what I'm saying. So Daniel Jones already been through that, or excuse me, not Daniel. Jared Goff has already been through that. He already got overpaid just for being the next guy up. Daniel Jones is probably that guy that we could say, this season that strikes a chord. But so we've already seen it. Like we've seen it year over year. And so for guys to say, and not guys, and I do not mean to sound like I'm calling you out, my dog. But what I'm saying is when people tell me, well, one bad contract shouldn't have an effect on the next contract, well, bullshit, because Daniel Jones is getting $40 million. So a bad contract from Jared Goff, from Kirk Cousins before that. Well, now I like Kirk. I'm probably higher on Kirk than most people. You know what I'm saying? But he was the punching bag for a lot of this 5-6 years ago when he was leaving Washington. And then when he had to play two or three guaranteed franchise years before he finally went and then got guaranteed in Minnesota. And so, but what I'm saying is we've seen examples of bad contracts repeating themselves over and over again. So that's what I'm saying. No one uses that logic when Jimmy G has 3 professional starts in 6 years, throws a combined, I don't know if he threw 100 passes in those 3 starts, and then leaves and sets the market when he goes to San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the trail of bad contracts that happened when you're a quarterback coming up getting paid. So that pattern is already in flux.
All right, man. I hear you, man. But
Pay that man, dog.
It's no. He gonna get paid, but all I'm saying.
No,
I'm saying is it's a difference, bro. If
I
I'm
do
an
get what
owner,
you're saying, though. I do.
if I'm all I'm saying is if I'm putting myself in the owner's position, I'm not quick to pull the trigger. I don't know what, but like I said, I don't know what his asking price is. That's important. I want to know what's the asking. You know,
Yeah.
if he sit here and say he want 60 million a year guaranteed, I don't know, bro.
I mean, we're not, but that's the thing too. Like, I don't want us to, because I don't think it's anything that crazy or outrageous, because then that's almost a backhanded shot at Lamar. Like, man, you out here wilding. Like, man, he ain't asking for 60
No.
million.
That's why I said
But that's what I'm
the key to it is that
Yeah,
the key is
but what I'm saying is, like, because even the number it was gonna be that number, the 133 guaranteed. Then they got some other pretty numbers. That's cool as well. The one that we talk about, the one we measure contracts on, the 133 that you guaranteed
but
Baltimore.
that was the signing bonus.
No, hold on.
It's go ahead.
But no, what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is, because look, I'm not giving them the extras. I'm giving them 133 guaranteed. And the reason I said this, kind of like I was saying before, is that they pick and choose when they want to highlight the other ancillary guarantees. And so now in this instance, it's a detriment to the Ravens offer if we don't say those numbers as well, to make it sound like it wasn't BS. So I'm not gonna give you the small print. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, you put 133 on the table, bro. That's what you put on the table. You know what I'm saying? You put 133 on the table. That's not enough. And it was 133 at like 42 million a year. You know what I'm saying? And so neither of those numbers are commensurate with his talent, his age, what he's accomplished, and his place in line as the next. Because there's no reason he should sign a contract under or on par with Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson, because those are the guys. Russell Wilson's at like 42 and change. 45. Kyler Murray's at 46. And then A-Rod's old ass came in at age 38 and hit him for 50.4 a year at 38. You know what I'm saying? Now, prior to this year, he had 2 MVP years. And so, and I'll give him that. Now, the most recent MVP, honestly, everyone felt like a giveaway. It felt like there just wasn't a lot of sexy stat lines.
But he still was balling, though. He was balling.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying, man. We're like, it felt like, I didn't feel like Aaron Rodgers was the MVP 2 years ago. He wasn't. Honestly, I think that could have been Joe. But well, that's a different conversation, man. But what I'm saying is, and so at 133 and 42 million, that's a shitty offer. It's just, there's no other way around it. Because if you're not going to go the route of the fully guaranteed, and this is still what we're accepting as his stance until the man come out and tell me he don't want nothing but 100% fully guaranteed, I'm going to say, as far as the public rhetoric, that's what he's standing on. If you're not going to give that, then you got to break bread somewhere else. If you're not going to give me 300 guaranteed, then I need 51 a year. You know what I'm saying? I at least got to be the top paid guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to come in at 42. I'm going to sign up to be the 4th highest paid quarterback. And then my guarantees are somewhere probably around the bottom, somewhere in from 5 to 8. That's just not a good deal. Or it wasn't a deal that fully values Lamar Jackson and what he brings to any NFL team. Now, that's what I'm saying. Now, do I prefer the play of Patrick Mahomes or even Josh Allen or whoever? That's a different question. But as far as what his market value dictates, what the market has told me he's worth, if Daniel Jones is worth anything that starts with a 4 in front of it for per season, then Lamar needs a 5 in front of his. I don't give a damn what it was. And that's the Giants' fault. They're giving him 40 a year. But if Daniel Jones to this point in his career is worth $40 million a year, yep, I don't have no problem giving Lamar 50. Not at all. Now, I'm not giving him 60, because then that's outside the construct of the established range of the market. But the market tells us that 50's in line. 50's somewhere in the range of possible, because 38-year-old Aaron Rodgers got 50. You know what I'm saying? So 50's on the line. So 50's not outside 50's not way left. You know what I'm saying? That's not crazy at all. So the offer still could have been extremely more competitive or extremely more compromising. Like, hey, man, look, we don't want to go 100% on the guarantee, bro. What if we did they offer 75% guaranteed, and then boom, now you're the number one guy? I mean, there's a lot of things that offer that were just piss poor, man. And like I said, I don't knock Lamar at all for, like, man, like, stand on what you believe in, bro. If it works or if it don't. But Do what you feel you worth. You know your value. And like I said, there would be nothing worse or nothing more tragic than coming back because he wilted under the public criticism, whatever. He takes a deal he doesn't feel good about, and then imagine he goes out there and then the worst does happen, and then boom, now here he is. And so no player owes that to any team. No player owes that to the organization. Like when you have your leverage, sir, maximize your dollar. Like I said, because they will throw you away tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? The wrong speeding ticket in a video of him stumbling outside his car, arguing with an officer, can end his career tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if that's the one time he's ever done anything in his life. And I'm not talking about something as drastic as getting rubbing tugs at your local, you know what I'm saying, establishments in the back room. I'm not even talking about something as serious as that. So like I'm saying, this league will get rid of you at a heartbeat. I will never spare the dollar of a Social Security age 70-year-old white man. It's not gonna happen, man.
I'm with you there, Willie Jack. I never disagree with that, bro. I never disagree with that, man.
My dog.
But anyway, man, there we go, man. There's our news for the day, man. We went through a few different things for y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed everything. We enjoying the comments too, man. I see y'all in there working, man. Y'all in there working. Y'all in there chatting. Y'all throwing some stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? Jarrell came in. He said, "Learn from Dak, man. Learn from Dak. Dak got paid." That got paid. He got his money, man. But Lamar's gonna get paid. He's going to get paid. I'm standing on that. I think that's what
after the draft, man. There's gonna be some movement going. That's when it's gonna pick up.
Something's gonna happen. He is going to get paid. I just think that's just the bottom line. That's it. You know, that's what's gonna happen. He's going to get paid. That's gonna be the bottom line of that whole situation. But Willie Jack, it's about that time, man. I think it's about time for you to talk to him and let him know what's going on, bro. Or if you want to hit this one, we can hit this one first.
Oh yeah, man. I was sitting there running my mouth so long, man, that I was at the checks. I was going back through some of the comments as well, man. And then real quick, man, for our dog, Brother Red, man, no votes to the podcast, man. Y'all tap in with my dog. Hey, Brother Red, man, I'm sorry, man. We on let the field speak time right now. I did just see your message, man. We definitely gonna chop it up, man. We got some boxing talk on the way, man. It's some big ones coming, man. So yeah, we definitely gonna get that popping, man. But real quick, man, on the topic, he said owners are not going to set a precedent with Jackson. They hated the Watson contract, etc. Want to hold off on giving that kind of money until they actually have to, and then $200 million guarantees should work. And I don't disagree. Like the number for me, I think it definitely has to be somewhere. It definitely has to be in the twos for sure. And honestly, even fully guaranteed or not, or how that goes, I would think it's got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of the Watson contract. Now the whole thing is because even the beef that's being made, I haven't heard the beef be that it was $230 million, but it was just $230 fully guaranteed. And then even the thought process behind that. So let's say if Lamar's, I mean, I don't know, man, but no, that's a very good comment as well. And honestly, man, just like we've seen in everything, the league isn't going to do anything until it has to. That goes for player safety, and that goes for the retirement pension for players who have lost years of their life on this game and playing this game. That goes for everything, man. Everything we've seen has happened not because the NFL gives a damn about the players as individuals. Now they care about them to an extent that they're in a very valuable commodity, a la Dan Snyder's $6 billion come up. You know what I'm saying? And so they're valuable as a commodity, and so that can never be knocked. But the league hasn't done anything for the benefit of players outside of moving from rubber helmets to freaking hard plastic. You know what I'm saying? Outside of leather helmets to plastic helmets may have been the only just league initiative that happened on its own. But since then, the league doesn't do anything until it's absolutely forced to do that. We saw that with domestic abuse when that became the flavor of the week. We saw it now with CTE. We've seen it now and so et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the league never moves until it's been made. They have no other choice. They are backed into a corner. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just par for the course. And then I'm checking in here too, man. I think I see that my dog's Brother Red, man. He's in the chat talking to Scott, man, talking about availability. The greatest ability is availability. And that's there's a fair point to be said about that as well. But then I still turn back to Mr. Aaron Rodgers, like I said, who missed 2 consecutive seasons with a broken collarbone, prompted him to draft Jordan Love. Then he comes back. Now, pissed off A-Rod did go get an MVP. Now, that first MVP, he went out and got it. He did. Then he hit him over the head at age 38 for $50 million a year. But what I'm saying is, when A-Rod was signing for 50, where was the talk about how just if they looked at the last 3 seasons, he missed 2 of the last 3. Then the one he came back, he balled. And then he got cashed out and got $50 million to the detriment of that team, mind you. You know what I'm saying? But got $50 million because he's out there getting paid for himself. I won't knock him. I want all the players to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So he did that. And then the circus we see now with him trying to get himself to the Jets and all his old buddies together. So et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm saying is, when Aaron Rodgers was ready to get paid again, and he was under contract, he wasn't a pending free agent. He didn't have to get franchise tagged and then worked it out. He was already paid. He just looked around and was like, man, who these scrubs getting paid as much as me? Who these bums getting paid more than me? Man, Kyler Murray just got $46 million. No, I need some bread, man. No, I don't like this. Call up Gutekunst or whoever's in Packers office, and now he renegotiated $50 million when he had missed 2 of the last 3 seasons with a broken collarbone. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I want the arguments to be equal across the board. If the injury and availability is an issue for Lamar Jackson, it didn't stop A-Ryan for hitting him for 50. Mid-contract, mind you. He didn't have any leverage or wiggle other than him just saying, I'll retire. But, you know, it is what
I think you got to take in consideration playing style when we talk about that too, though, man.
Has Lamar Jackson broke 2 collarbones?
No,
because A-Rod ain't taking no chances. A-Rod ain't running if he ain't got to. He's not getting those extra hits we talk about. David Bakhtiari, when he's healthy, because he's another guy that's supremely injured, but when he's healthy, A-Rod ain't getting touched off the left side. You know what happened? He still broke 2 collarbones. So the level of injury for Lamar Jackson is inferior to the level of injury we've seen with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, man. Hey, man. Hey, the Aaron Rodgers played a lot more games than Lamar Jackson in those last few seasons since Lamar's MVP season, which is what, 2019?
Yeah, that probably sounds right.
Yeah, since 2019, bro.
Yeah,
actually, Aaron Rodgers hasn't missed a game since 2017.
No, I'm not talking about in that time frame. I'm saying the 2 years prior to him signing that deal where he missed 2 years with a broken collarbone. He broke the collarbone and he rebroke it like early into the next year. But he missed the better part of 2 years. They drafted Jordan Love. Then he came back and he had these 2 MVPs. Now, I hated that second MVP for him. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I could get it because his stat sheet was clean, but there's just nobody that had a clean stat sheet. He still went for like 30 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He only threw for 3,400 yards. You know what I'm saying? But it was clean, and it's not by accident. A-Rod is guarding those numbers as well. So, but like I said, man, do your thing, big dog. But yeah, man, I know I done kidnap the show, man, going crazy, man. I'm gonna get into what it's time to do, man. Today's episode of Let the Film Speak, hosted by your dogs, Chop Willie Jack of Let the Film Speak fame. You probably heard about you might have heard something about us, man. Wednesdays nights at 7 o'clock. We get busy, and it's brought to you by the OG, man. As always, man, that's the 3 amigos, man. That's like, that, share, that, subscribe. That's 3 amigos. That's 3 the hard way. You cannot go wrong. Like, share, and subscribe. Now, we say it every week, so you can probably say it at home with me, man. There's 3 amigos. There's 4 parts to this process, big dog. First thing you got to do, man, like my dog Day One Gang Jarrell said, when you step in the door, man, hit that like button, man. Just tap in. Tap in with 3 amigos, man. Like, share, and subscribe, man. Tap in. Just pay your respects. Just say what's up, man. Come in and get real comfortable. Then tell a friend. We tell y'all every time, man, don't hold it to yourself. Tell a friend. Tell your friend to tell a friend. Tell your friend's friend to bring one more, because we need 4, man. It ain't no fun if everybody don't get none. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, come chop it up with your dogs, man. Getting real jiggy, kick a flavor like we always do. Now, back to the regularly scheduled programming.
All right, man. All right, now let's get to what we get. We started this show for Willie Jack. We said we was gonna come in. We're gonna start off. We're gonna talk about the big uglies. We're gonna talk about the guys in the trenches, man. So we definitely got to jump into that for sure, and talk about some of these guys, man. So let's go ahead and do that, and start it off, man. We got offensive tackles coming into this draft. A solid offensive tackle draft, man. What I would say overall, Willie Jack, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, man. When I watched a lot of these tackles, man, I saw a lot of guys that were still kind of raw. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys were raw, had the size, had a lot of the ability, but still kind of raw in some areas. But we're gonna jump into it, man, and we're gonna break it down for y'all. Willie Jack, I'm gonna let you kick it off, man. Start off
Yeah.
and give me your number 5 guy, man. Let me know who that is, man. Who that
Now,
is.
now let me start by saying this. I'm a little bit of the other way than my dog Chop on here.
Okay.
I think, well, at least at the top, and then there's a couple guys uh in the middle rounds as well, man. That could be players. That could be players, especially here in maybe 2-3 years. But I think it's very heavy and competitive at the top. And
Okay.
honestly, I if it's me and I'm in somebody's draft room and I'm talking about guy, like in my mind, there's 6 first round tackles in this draft.
Okay.
I think there's 5 for sure, and then I'd be comfortable at the bottom of the first round with a 6th guy getting in there. So I like this tackle class, like I said, especially at the top. Now, how it stacks or measures to classes we've seen before, that's maybe different. There's no Rashawn Slater in this class. You know what I'm saying? Penny Sewell, maybe there's not necessarily a Penny Sewell either. But
That class with Tristan Wirfs, man, was a nice
yeah, no,
class
yeah,
too.
Tristan Wirfs as
Tristan
well with
Wirfs,
Andrew
your boy
Thomas.
from the
Now I will
Giants.
say it. Now I was higher on Andrew
Yeah,
Thomas than I think you were, but Andrew
yeah.
Thomas, that was a good class as well. So now how they stack up class for class, that'd be interesting. I didn't think about that, but so maybe there's a point to go. But I do like it at the top. I'm gonna start with my number 5, and I'm going to go. I'm looking at my list now, Chop. God dang it. Come on, man. No, I'm stick with the list. I'm not going to switch no more. I switched to 10 minutes before the show started. Number 5, I'm going to go Broderick Jones. I'm going Broderick Jones from Georgia. And so now this is the one. He's the guy where, and we've seen this before. I'm going through my notes here. Yeah, here we go. So I've seen guys like this before, and I almost feel for a different reason, it made me think of how I looked at Christian Darrisaw. And so, was it maybe 2 years ago with Christian Darrisaw coming out of Virginia Tech? He
He
had the
went to
size, he
Minnesota.
had the athleticism, he had the strength, he had the agility. But there was just something there where I just didn't, because he had issues with his motor or effort. And this is just with things that I had heard. And even when I look, I'm like, man, I don't know if he wanted to touch nobody them last 4 plays. You know what I'm saying? But then them next 3, it's Trent Williams. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, what I say about Broderick Jones now for a different reason, athletically, he's right up my alley because he is a mauler. You know what I'm saying? I've got him listed as 6'4, 310, 315 pounds. And then I think the first line I've got when I look at him, man, very powerful run blocker, moves extremely well. And so he's a guy that now he'll come get you. You know what I'm saying? So I love when they let him get out in space and actually run, because he's a guy that, like I said, man, he is a piano going downhill and ain't no brakes. You know what I'm saying? And whatever he runs into ain't gonna feel good when he gets there. You know what I'm saying? So love him in that. But the things about him, and he's a guy as well where, just like you said, I do feel like he is super raw. Like he is super raw, and that's why he's at 5. And so, where he ranks, where a guy like him ranks in my ranking, and where he would get drafted, where I would even probably be comfortable drafting, those may be different. But if I'm looking at film and just ranking these guys like we're doing, he's gonna be that guy. He's gonna be at 5 because he is. I don't want to be. I wasn't a fan of his pass protection at all. I think of the 5 guys I've got listed, he's the worst pass protector. Of my top 6 guys, he's a bottom 2 pass protector. I feel like I would say that comfortably. And then I look at, and then also like Chop knows, man, and I probably mentioned before, when I'm watching these guys, I don't necessarily want to see your film against Western Kentucky, Playboy. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't had 40 pancakes in that game, then you shouldn't be getting talked about anyway. I want to see you play, and especially when you go to Georgia, I want to see you play LSU. I want to see you play Alabama. I want to see you, you know what I'm saying? I want to see you play against guys that are going to play in the league. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see you beat up on my little cousin. you feel me? And so BJ Ojolari, and we're gonna get into edge rushers as well, but BJ Ojolari from LSU, and he's a guy, and so he's gonna go in the league. I don't think I don't think he's a round 1 guy. He's comfortably a round 2 guy though. But this is a guy that he's gonna see a BJ Ojolari every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a guy he's gonna see every week. Abused him. It was a one-sided matchup. Broderick Jones, I don't know if he came out the game for a little bit or if they had him switch to play right tackle for a little bit to get away from Bijan, but he couldn't do nothing with him. And like I said, but I think it's more so just about how young and how raw he is. This another guy as well. I think he's only 20 years old, or maybe he just turned 21. So he's the guy for me that's the probably the highest or maybe second highest ceiling, because I do like the guy I've got at number one for me was clear cut number one, and I think he's got the perfect combination of high enough floor and still high enough ceiling. So, but I think he's probably the guy that's got the second highest ceiling, but he's one of the guys as far as this top 5 or 6 is concerned. He's got one of the lower floors, and I think he's a guy that he comes in. He's the tackles Anthony Richardson. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to my dog brother Redman over this podcast. Trent Williams style of potential, or like that style of tackle play, a supreme athlete at 320 pounds that could chase and go find your strong safety. You know what I'm saying, in space and put him in the third row. Like, that's the type of player this guy can be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because that's Trent Williams is. Trent Williams don't give a damn about none of that. Man, Trent Williams get on the horse. And Trent Williams pull for 12 yards, and somebody get that work when he get there.
Man, if I see Trent Williams pulling coming from somewhere, I'm like, okay, I just hope somebody pick him up. I hope somebody get in his way.
I hope you got your affairs in order, man. That's all I'm gonna tell you. I hope you got if Trent Williams got a head of steam, boy, and he's looking at me like, oh God, what did I do to deserve this? You feel me? But he can be that style of, like, that's the style of attack I can imagine him like becoming, at least in the run game. Because I think he's athletic enough, he's powerful enough, he's a super powerful guy, and he moves very well. But things I didn't like, man, I'm gonna talk to you. I don't take too long. He drops his head on contact quite a bit, and then it causes him to miss. And so when he's going to hit or engage, he'll put his head down. Now you lost your target. You know what I mean? And sometimes he misses, or he doesn't get a good strike, or he strikes the wrong area. All right, so the technical aspect of just the playing the position. I also felt he was susceptible to inside moves, and like I said, some of this stuff is just going to be criticisms of that point to his youth or inexperience, especially technically just at the position. And then another thing as well, man, is as powerful as he is in the run game, I thought his anchor in his pass pro was inconsistent as well. And so it's not a matter of strength, because I think raw strength, he's probably one of the more powerful guys this side of, DeJuan Jones. You know what I'm saying? But that tells me that that's more about his hand placement and his technique. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got the raw natural strength or power to be able to anchor, but I think it's inconsistent. But Broderick Jones, number 5, man. Broderick Jones is my number 5.
Okay. All right, Willie Jack. All right, man. Broderick Jones, your number 5. I like that. This is a guy that's on my list as well, man. I'll talk about him in a little bit, when I get to him. But I'm going to start my number 5 off with this guy, man. Darnell Wright, man. Right tackle out of Tennessee, man. Decent size offensive tackle. Sitting at 6'5", 333 pounds. So he's a big guy, man. And playing their right tackle position is a little bit different from playing their left tackle, okay? When most teams looking for their left tackle, man, they're looking for a guy that's going to protect, that's going to be, that's going to keep their quarterback from getting hurt. Most quarterbacks are right-handed in the league, man, so they got to protect the blind side. That's why oftentimes you'll see the left tackle get a little bit more, paper, getting a little bit more chicken, as my dog Marshawn Lynch would say, than you see, some of the other offensive line positions, man. So, but on the right side, man, a lot of times that's where you see a lot more like the mean guys, the guys that really get to it. They like to get out there. They want to get in your face. They want to really get nasty, and do a lot of that dirty work. And that's what you see from Darnell Wright, man. Like I said, big right tackle. He has some solid athletic ability, man. When I watch him, he has a mean streak to him too. So if you watch his film, man, a lot of times you're gonna see him. When he gets his hands on guys, a lot of times they don't make it, man. They're not standing up the entire time. He's finding a way to put him in the dirt. Now, because of his playing style, because he relies a lot on his athletic ability, he may, get you in trouble a little bit with penalties. You know what I'm saying? With his playing style. He is raw technique-wise. I think there's some technique things that he can work on, especially with his footwork, his change of direction, his agility. But if he gets his hands on you, man, I mean, you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? He gets his hands on you because he's moving people, which makes him also dangerous in the run game. When he gets going and he gets a good jump off of that line of scrimmage, man, he can move you, and you won't find oftentimes that anybody's moving him from left to right or bull rushing him and moving him somewhere. Once he gets his jump, he's going to move that line of scrimmage, man, and he'll make for a great person to run behind in that run game, so that's a lot of what he brings to the table. Did a great job of protecting Hendon Hooker, throughout his time in Tennessee, man. And that's those are some of the things that kind of makes him a little bit more dangerous, and the reason why I really like him when I watch him, and the reason why I got him in my number 5 spot. He's, like I said, I like his athletic ability when it comes to him moving, but the coordination doesn't match his athletic ability when you watch him. You know what I mean? So those are the things that I like, but also kind of dislike. But him playing that right tackle position, I think if he continues to get coached up, and they run behind him a lot, man, that can be, something that can be real dangerous for whatever team he ends up on.
Got you. Yeah, I'm gonna circle back to Darnell, man. I got him coming up a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to circle back.
All right. Well, let me go on to my number 4 then. And you already brought his name up, Willie Jack, and I'm gonna talk about him right now, man. DeJuan Jones, man, another right tackle, man. I'm starting my list off with back-to-back right tackles. Now, I just talked about Darnell Wright and him being mean and him being a big tackle. Darnell Wright, like I said, 6'5", 333. DeJuan Jones, though, 6'8", 374. I don't know if y'all remember a guy by the name of Mekhi Becton. You know what I'm saying? Coming out of Louisville. That's about the size that we see from this guy, from this DeJuan Jones. The only difference is they play different sides. Mekhi Becton was a little bit more polished and was a little bit, I would say, a little bit better in the pass protection. And he played left tackle, and DeJuan Jones was on the right side. The one thing I can say about DeJuan Jones, though, he plays to his size. He's very mean, and you can find him on any screen. You turn on that Ohio State tape, you're going to find him. It won't be hard. It won't be long. You're going to find him on that screen because he's on there. And 9 times out of 10, he's putting somebody's face in the dirt, man. His size is obviously something that makes him a force to be reckoned with, for sure. And he uses that to his advantage. It's not one of those guys where you see, oh, man, that's a big guy, man, but he play a little bit soft. Nah, he uses it, and he's a bully, for sure. He's like, hey, I'm God maybe this size. I ain't here to mess around with you. It's almost like Shaq, man. Like Shaq didn't care that whoever was guarding him was only 6.
Oh no, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. They was just a nameless body.
220 pounds. Shaq said, man, I'm 7'1", 330. I don't care how small you is. I'm about to dominate you, and I'm gonna bully y'all down here. And that's what DeJuan Jones does. You know what I'm saying? He will have no problem with bull rushers. You will not be running through him. But I will say his size comes with a little bit of a lack of agility, man. A little bit of lack of change of direction. I think the guys that he'll struggle with is those guys that are pretty good with their hands, guys that are pretty quick, guys that can change direction really good. Maybe can set them up with different moves, hit them hard on the outside and spin back to the inside. Those type of guys, I think he'll struggle with a little bit because once he gets his momentum going, it's hard for him to change direction, put his foot in the ground, and move back with the quickness that you'll need going against some of these, defensive ends. These guys like a TJ Watt is coming from that side. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's going to end up in the division, but a guy like TJ Watt sitting at about 270, something like that. That's quick as quick as your 250-pound defensive end, but also as strong as your 280, 290-pound defensive end. So guys like that, man, are the type of guys that you're gonna have to deal with on a week in and week out basis. So being strong, being big, being a bully is not the only thing you're gonna be able to bring to the table. You also gonna have to have some skill to that too, So that's the reason why I got him in my number 4 spot. But I like his attitude, I like his meanness, and I think that again, just like Darnell Wright, man, will come in and he can be provide an immediate impact for somebody on their offensive line with his attitude and his mean streak.
I got you. And then perfect timing because my number 4, I also got DeJuan Jones. And so that one actually timed up or teed up perfect. So I've also got DeJuan Jones. Now I'm not gonna lie, I see him a little. Well, I didn't necessarily think he compared to Mekhi Becton.
But when I said size, only with size.
Okay, yeah. Size wise, yeah, that type of size. Yeah, Mekhi Becton, Trent Brown is another one as well. Yeah. With the Patriots again. So guys that big, but he's got now. This is the first thing that I noticed on my first line is he moves surprisingly well given his size. And so at 6'8", 375 pounds, I think he moves very well. You know what I'm saying? To be where he is. You know what I'm saying? So just in comparison to him being 6'8", 374, and let's say, another guy who may be 6'4", 320, 330, you know what I'm saying? Like relative to his size, I think he moves very well. I think he's now this is where I think we've seen it different. I really like his pass protection, his pass pro. So I thought he was very sound in his pass pro. Now the thing is, just like you said, like my dog Chop was saying, given his size, he's gonna be he is a little limited in the way he can and has to do things. And so what I noticed, another thing I noticed is he uses, and he's best at, he uses a quick set or a jump set. And so essentially, like when you're playing O line or D line, and so everybody's familiar with your typical like traditional drop pass set where the tackle's kicking back. You know what I'm saying? He's kicking back and he's waiting to time the hands or time his punch to a guy rushing onto us. He's dropping back with the rusher coming forward. Well, a quick set or a jump set is where you jump on the guy across from you right at the line of scrimmage. So now you can't drive him off the line of scrimmage like in a run block, but you can jump on him and engage him. They give you about a yard to play with, and that's why we see like on those RPOs where linemen are a little downfield, but not downfield enough to be considered blocking downfield. So they give you a little leeway there to block at the line of scrimmage. So he jumps on guys right there at the line, and he's very, I mean, he's dominant. He's dominant at doing it. And a lot of that is going to be, like I said, he's got to go at that size, 6'8", 374, and he's playing behind all 374 pounds. When he puts his hands on you, you are dead.
Man, he knocking hands down and you putting faces in the dirt,
bro.
man.
Exactly right. And so, man, he'll use your leverage against them, and it goes to me that's it's excellent technique and it's excellent awareness, because he knows as big as he is, guys are gonna really gear up and get down and try to come out with hit him with as much force as they can. And so it's an easier day at the office for him. Let you use that momentum against you. Like, I know you firing out on 10, so guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let you fire out. I'm gonna grab both your wrists and I'm gonna send you to the dirt, boy. And then if, boy, depending on what's going on, I might lay on you. You don't want them problems. You don't. That's not.
Hey, 374 land on you, bro. I don't know if you want that.
It ain't a posturepedic in the world that'll fix your back after that, boy. Yeah, you done so. You know what I mean? But those are things that I think that shows his like nuance for the game or position, and it shows like awareness, because like I save myself a rep. Like, I'm not gonna play bully ball like Tevin Jenkins, you know what I'm saying, right tackle for Oklahoma State a couple years ago. I loved him coming out of Oklahoma State just for him being a mauler, but Tevin Jenkins wants that smoke. Nah, you gearing up? Well, come on then, big boy. Yeah, I'm right here. Like, yeah, we just gonna duke it out. Then with DeJuan Jones, like, man, look, I got 60 snaps this game. Oh, you a fool. Boom, lay down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, now I get to catch my breath to the next one. And so I like seeing those things. Now, of course, given his size, he moves well, but he is going to be limited in just overall just pure foot speed. And so he is going to be vulnerable to outside speed, and probably guys, fast, bendy guys off the edge are definitely going to be, something that's going to be, I guess, his kryptonite or whatnot. But the thing about that is everybody has something. You know what I'm saying? So some guys suffer against power, some guys suffer against speed, some guys suffer against both, and we don't know why you're here, big dog. You know what I'm saying? But so everybody's got their one, you know what I mean? And speed and bendy guys that are going to be an issue as well. What's the other thing here? Oh yeah. I think other than that, man, I think my dog Chop hit it pretty good. But I really like him. Like I said, like I like Broderick Jones, DeJuan Jones, my 5 and 4. I think they're first round guys. I really do. Like, I really think they're first round guys. DeJuan Jones probably a more second half of the first. A team like my Steelers have been pretty high on them, and etc. So that means somebody's looking at him at 17. You know what I mean? And we're not the only one. So I think that back half of the first round there's definitely several places he could land and go to. But yeah, other than that, man, like I said, I think my dog Chop record is pretty good.
Speaking of, I would love him for the Steelers, man. I would love him. Y'all already added to some more, man. Go get another guy, man, that can get it in that run game, man.
And that's the thing, man. Is just the way our team's constructed and what's going on. Like, we paid a guy to play right tackle and all this stuff, man. So the guys I like most in this draft are right tackles, because DeJuan Jones is a guy I really liked a lot, and etc. But But yeah, man, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But
All right, go ahead, give me your number 3, bro.
let me keep it pushing. Now, number 3, and I'm gonna preface it. I'm gonna preface it and say I'm not just trying to just, you know what I'm saying, I'm just not out here talking crazy, just trying to whatever. But I'm gonna go Peter Skoronski at 3. And I'm gonna explain why though. Because I see what everybody else sees as well. Like I see the things that have him number 1 on a lot of boards or have him as a clear like top. Well, I don't think a lot of these guys aren't getting talked about until like these guys are talked about more in the top 12 than they are top 5 or top 10. You know what I mean? So the bot from 5 to 12 is where like the top guys are probably expected to go. Like in that range would be the, you know what I'm saying? So and realistically, probably not, no, 7, probably 7 to 12 would be the sweet spots for the consensus guys that the names we've heard and we'll get to. But this is why I've got Peter Skoronski at 3, because, and I hate saying this because the guy he took over for, I absolutely loved. He took over for Rashawn Slater as the left tackle when Rashawn Slater went to the first round. The knock against Rashawn Slater was he had these short ass T-Rex arms. And can you play tackle? There's a guy every year, it feels like. Well, can he stay at tackle? You know what I'm saying? His arms go 4 inches past his chest. I don't know if he's got the length to, you know what I'm saying, block a guy off the edge. So Peter Skoronski is this year's that guy.
Yeah.
Now, the difference, because Slater was my number 1 last year, and it wasn't like it was. I was hardcore. It was going to be Slater for me, but based on everything else I saw. Because like Skoronski, he has tremendous technique, and so that's the thing about. That's the thing about Skoronski. I just realized I didn't give his size. They got a listed at 6'4", 315. He's got excellent technique. He's got great burst, like off the line. Like I like his hand placement. He like you watch him and it's like he's a guy you can just tell he just knows what he's doing. Like he's a guy you see him like, oh yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. But the thing that I don't like about Skoronski that wasn't an issue for me from Rashawn Slater, like when you tell me, it's one thing to tell me a guy has short arms. It's another thing for me to see a guy has short arms. His short arms come up in his film immediately. Like the first games I turned on, I don't know if it was Penn State or Ohio State. I watched both of them. Penn State, Ohio State, and I probably watched like six or so games or something like that. But his arms shows up as an issue immediately. And so rushers, and I'm not just talking about the guys that we know are going to get drafted. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about every film I saw, guys get in his chest. And there's nothing he's doing wrong. He just can't reach to fight back. Guys get in his chest and really take control of his chest. And so he struggles tremendously with power. And the thing about like rushers and just rushers, normally like power and speed. You know what I'm saying? One's your calling card. Are you a power guy or are you a speed guy? And then if you're a speed guy, can you convert your speed to power? That's where that term comes, where you hear people say that. But it's almost like, depending on how you rush, like with a guy like Skoronski, everybody's most competent guys, especially if this is how you're, depending on your body composition, whatever, I'm not going to dance or try to go around him and play. I'm not going to double dutch play footwork with him because he's built for that. I'm just going to run straight through his chest. And I haven't seen him. He doesn't have the play power. He doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the length, like I said, so he's already at a disadvantage. Guys are touching him and pushing him back. His hands aren't on anybody yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't reach to get there. So now you've taken 2 steps. 2 steps is going to be 2 yards. You're 2 yards deep into the backfield before I can even touch you again, before I can get my hands back on you. And then that's the thing, too. He doesn't have the power or just raw strength of a guy like Rashawn Slater. Because if you are going to have those short arms and guys are going to be able to get into your chest, well, now you need a rock solid concrete anchor. You need raw strength and power to put a heel in the ground, put a heel in the dirt, put a foot in the dirt, and now grab like up and stop, like I said, and stop the momentum. Like you've got to stop that. Like I made a reference about like a piano that starts running downhill. Nobody's gonna stop it. It's gonna stop. It's gonna smack something. It's gonna smack up somebody's car and stop it. You got to be a guy that can come in front of that piano, embrace and take 2 steps and then stop it in his tracks. That's what he doesn't have. And so now he's at 3 because I'm thinking like, I don't know realistically if he can play tackle, not at the level that he's being talked about or compared with. So not to say he couldn't get out there and be functional, you know what I mean? And that he couldn't have success against maybe the average, just an average D lineman. So maybe 50-60% of the league aren't going to give him issues. But then, like I said, a TJ Watt, a Miles Garrett, you know what I mean? Guys that actually can play. Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, like the guys at the top of this league. And then the thing about power is, even if you're not a name brand number one just guy, we instantly think of when we talk about edge rushers. But well, you can have a day against. You may be able to have a day against him because you may just overpower him. Just at the point of attack, right there on the line of scrimmage. And so that's the issues I have, man. It's like, I don't know if he can really realistically play tackle. And so we've seen guys like Zach Martin, who was a tackle at Notre Dame. He also has short arms. He transitions to guard, and then he's a generational guard. He's an all-decade team level of guard. Well, that's the other problem that I'm still not even so sure if Skoronski can be Zach Martin, because Zach Martin was similar to Rashawn Slater, an extremely powerful man. He's just a strong, powerful man. And so when you move inside, the difference between guards and tackles, or one of the main differences is tackle is he's on an island. You know what I'm saying? To a certain extent. He's a guy that he's one-on-one in space and he's dancing. When you hear people talk about dancing bears, he's dancing one-on-one with a guy who weighs 50 pounds less than him, runs 0.3 of a second faster than him. He's dancing with a guy that runs 6'6" and he runs, you know what I'm saying, runs 4'6". He ran 4'3". He's dancing with a guy that has a 1.5, 10-yard split. His is closer to 1.8. He's losing. The only advantage he has is that I'm bigger than this guy. You know what I mean? But when you play guard, you don't need dancers at guard. You know what I'm saying? You need boys that can bang in a phone booth. You know what I'm saying? You need boys that can have a 12-round heavyweight fight in a phone booth. That's guard play for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where it starts, at least. Phone booth bangers, Chop.
Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. That's what that sounds like.
That's what I'm talking. Man, you feel me? Man, if Brother Red in here, man, I seen a clip of another. Well, yeah, I ain't gonna talk about it. But that's what it takes to play guard, or at least that's for me is one of the first. Because the first thing is, because the people who are inside, you know what I'm saying? You got Von Miller and TJ Watt and Nick Bosa. Yeah, these guys are cute, man. These guys are cute. 260 to 270 pound men on the outside. You can dance with them. Inside, you got some biggins in there. Fletcher Cox in there. Fletcher Cox just as big as you. Fletcher Cox is bigger than you. 6'4", 330. What you doing with him at guard? You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have the power to be even to really, or I don't see the power that he can actually dig out a tackle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get 6 inches to out leverage and drive a 330-pound man backwards. I don't see the play strength to even do that. So now I'm worried, like, realistically, is he a guard? I don't know. Then, okay, center. Well, I don't know if he's ever played center, but the way he moves his hands and I would love to see him try to play center. Maybe he's Jason Kelsey. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But that's what really worries me, man. Like, I just don't know. Like, I just don't know if he really holds up at guard. And if he does, man, hey, man, no sweat off your back, bro. You ain't worried about it. I'm sure they're gonna cash you out. You're gonna do your thing, go to the Pro Bowl. But like I said, man, when I'm ranking him, man, that's why I had him. I went ahead and went with him at 3, man. Skoronski.
Okay. Well, that's another guy that's on my list too, man. So I get to him when I get to him. I'll save my feedback for when we get there. But I'm gonna go to my number 3, man. My number 3 was a guy that you actually had at number 5, Willie Jack. I had Broderick Jones, man. Broderick Jones, you already mentioned his size, 6'5", 311, so solid size. A left tackle. Now he is a guy. Speaking of arm size, man, he's a guy with pretty long arms, good athletic ability, good first step off of the ball, man. He has a lot of those good qualities that come naturally. Okay, and when I started this list and I was talking about tackles, he was one of the guys that I was referring to when I said, hey, he's raw. You know, he has a lot of raw things to him as well, you know, in terms of his technique, you know, and his movements, his footwork, you know, all those different things I see in him. I'm like, all right, a little bit of raw, but he has a lot of good qualities that you can work with, man. Pack some punch in his initial contact, man. I see him, you know, and you can see guys kind of move or get thrown off of their path just with a punch from him, you know. So he has that. If he can get that worked on, get that taught on how to properly throw punch, how to properly put himself in position, you know, to do that. I think that, you know, that can go a long way. You know, he has I think he holds good position in pass protection. using his leverage in combination with his size. You know what I'm saying? I think that he does a good job of naturally putting himself in that position. Now, he's another guy I think that relies a lot on his athletic ability because he's so raw.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he can use some cleanup, in terms of his and I talked about it already, like his footwork. Like I don't know if you seen it was a lot of his pulls where he'll do like a hop step or like a I don't know. It's more so like a I don't know what you see a lot of running backs do when they slide to the right and then they come up, they run forward, kind of get the handoff. You'll see a lot of that when you see
Okay.
him, especially towards the inside or to the right side when they're running the ball behind them. And sometimes it affects him getting to where he needs to be on time. You know what I mean? It's we talked about Trent Williams and how Trent Williams, when he pulls, he's coming around like a
No
freight
wasted
train.
movement, boy.
Yeah, he's
That boy
moving, he's running
said,
full speed. He knows exactly where he's supposed to be, how to get there, and what holes are going to open up to where he's going to be there. It's not the same with Broderick Jones. It's almost like he's trying to weave through traffic, which takes away a lot of his momentum and also takes a little bit more time for defensive ends or defensive players that are reading that pool and say, okay, this is the hole that I need to attack. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times linebackers they sitting, once they see that it's a run or notice, they shooting that gap. You know what I'm saying? So if you're taking your time getting to that gap, that can cause problems. That can cause players on the defensive side of the ball to blow up their play. That's what I saw a lot from him, in terms of his rawness and in terms of his ability to really affect the game. I think those are things that he can work on. But other than that, man, I think this guy has tremendous upside, and like you said, also Willie, one of the highest ceilings, of the players that
mm-hmm.
are other offensive tackles that's coming out in this draft. And I think if he gets with the right coach, a guy that can really coach him up, get him right, really work with him, we can see him blossom. Year 2, year 3, well maybe more so year 3, and turn into one of the better tackles in the league. Similar to Andrew Thomas, man. I wasn't high on Andrew Thomas like as Willie Jack was, and Andrew Thomas had his struggles in the very beginning, but really turned it around and is one of the better tackles in this league right now. So that's what I see Broderick Jones capable of becoming.
No, I got you. And like I said, man, there's tons to like, but this is just like you said, man. It's all going to be who gets their hands on them, man. And then, like I said, man, get shot, cleaning them up. You know what I'm saying? He's a rough, uncut diamond. You know what I'm saying? Clean them up, polish them up, and then, like, man, let's see what it looks like in probably 2 seasons from now versus maybe how he may look this first year.
Gotcha. All right, man. On to the next one, man. This is another guy I like, man. Paris Johnson Jr., man. Paris Johnson Jr. I got him on my list, man. Another good size left tackle. Another guy who I feel like is very, very raw. Has very long arms, man. It's decent at the point of attack. You know what I'm saying? He packs a punch as well in terms of his first contact with defenders. Another guy that needs to work technique, needs to work footwork, needs to work on a lot of those different things in order to fully develop into the tackle that he can be. Also, a high ceiling. I think he has maybe a little bit more to work on when it comes to his balance. You know what I'm saying? But his run blocking ability, he's different from Broderick Jones when it comes to his run blocking. Man, he gets up and gets at it. You know what I'm saying? He gets to where he needs to be in a hurry. He gets in position, and once he gets in position, it was pretty much all she wrote when he was getting to that second level against linebackers. You know what I'm saying? Another thing I like about him is some offensive tackles or offensive linemen, period, they struggle with angles in terms of, all right, what angle do I need to take to cut this guy off? On the defense side of the ball, we always talk about angles when it comes to pursuit drill. You got to take a certain angle in pursuit drill to get in front of the ball carrier or cut off the ball carrier. And it's almost the same when it comes to like run blocking and getting to the second level and creating those lanes for your running back or whoever's running the ball behind you. You have to get to where you need to be, take the right angle and cut it off so that their running back who's taught to run butt side, you can turn your back and he knows exactly which side to go on, and it's free range. You know what I'm saying? So he does a really, really good job of that, setting those angles and getting to where he, like I said, he needs to be at that next level in a hurry. You know what I'm saying? And I really love that. And then he moves people around too when he touches them. You know what I'm saying? When he gets his hands on people, he really moves them around, and you don't often see him going backwards. And when it comes to his run blocking as well. So I really like Paris Johnson, man. Another guy with some really good upside. Another guy that's still raw in some areas, but I think he has tremendous ability. And again, like we said with Broderick Jones, in the right hands, hey man, he can be a force to be reckoned with for sure.
No, for sure, and he's coming up on my list as well, man. So I'm a save it, and then I'll touch back on him here in a second. But this is where I'll get into my number two, man. Now, I absolutely love this guy. I had a man crush on this dude, man. Probably he was one of the earlier O-line guys I ended up watching, and I didn't have any frame of reference for Darnell Wright. Like I heard the name Paris Johnson, I heard the name Peter Skoronski, I heard the name Broderick Jones. Those were the big three. Like when I was going through this, or back when I first looked at this guy. But yeah, so I was very pleasantly surprised. This is where I've got Darnell Wright, bro. I've got Darnell Wright number two, and I'm going to tell you why. So I see a guy. He's 6'6", he's 335 pounds. He's massive. You know what I'm saying? But he's huge, and so. But where I want to go? Where I want to go? I don't want to get too excited. He's a guy I feel like when I mentioned before, he's a dancing bear. He is a grizzly bear. You know what I'm saying? That he slide and skate a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. You know what I'm saying? And so, especially relative to his size, I think in pass pro, I'm very comfortable with him in pass pro. I'm more comfortable with him in pass pro than DeWine Jones. Even I thought DeWine Jones pass pro was great. He is great, but he can't drop set. You know what I'm saying? Like Darnell White doesn't just have to like kind of get my hands on you right now. So before you have a chance to do anything or run around me and I can't touch and move, like, no, man, he'll take his 2 or 3 kick steps. And then the thing that this is why, and I've been back and forth with him and Skoronski at 2 and 3. And I went ahead and said, man, you know what? If I'm not comfortable with Skoronski lining up as my number 1 pick, especially if I have to draft him where he's projected to go. If I've got to spend a top 12 pick on Peter Skoronski to have him come in and play my left tackle, I don't feel so safe about that bet. I'll take Darnell Wright at 20. You know what I'm saying? And feel a lot better just about what I'm getting, because I know I'm getting a tackle for one. And like I said, I like his pass pro. I think, especially relative to his size, I thought he had good foot speed, and I thought he got good depth. But here's the thing that really sold me: anchor. And I think I watched him after Skoronski's film, or I saw Skoronski first. Yeah, I think I did the big 3 first, and then I got to somewhere along the line, I got to Darnell Wright, and it jumped out the screen for me. Anchor, powerful hands. You know what I'm saying? Because so much about tackle play in pass pro is, like I said, like, you're disadvantaged. Somebody's running forward and somebody's firing off from a track stance running forward. You're bent over at the waist, and then you're trying to run backwards. You know what I mean? And so you're already at a disadvantage. And so there's going to be a point where the immovable object is going to meet an unstoppable force. So tackles need to be immovable objects where when you come into contact with me, the train stops. You know what I mean? Like, don't matter how fast you was going. You know what I'm saying? When I get in front of you, the train stops. The piano stops. Piano was running crazy down the hill. You know what I'm saying? It picked up 40 miles an hour. Don't matter. When I touched it, it stopped. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like he has. I feel like he has very powerful hands. I think he has a tremendous anchor. I think he's got excellent strength as a run blocker as well. Now, his run blocking is a little inconsistent, but honestly, the offense at Tennessee, and this is another thing I think is a plus for him, is they wanted to air the ball out. You know what I'm saying? We've talked about Hendon Hooker. We talked about Jalen Hyatt. There's a CD Cedric Tillman is another receiver who's going to get drafted there in the first 3 rounds or so, 3-4 rounds is what. So this is an NFL roster, and now it's not an NFL scheme, but they airing the ball out. You know what I'm saying? So this is a guy that, like Broderick, the difference between a guy like him and Broderick Jones is probably gonna especially in that Georgia offense, man, there's going to be games where the splits between his pass pro and run blocking sets or instances they may be around half, or they may right on it. They may even run the ball a little more. Well, Darnell Wright doesn't have that. Hendon Hooker will have 40 attempts in the game. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to surprise any of us. If Hendon Hooker passes more than 30 times in the game, it's not a surprise to anybody in that offense. So he's a guy, he's out there getting work. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not a guy that, you know what I mean? Like, he's doing what you get paid to do. There's a premium on pass protection. You know what I mean? So guys that keep the quarterback standing up, like, those are the guys who get paid at the top of the market. You know what I'm saying? And so this is a guy that he's in an offense where he's working every single, more likely than not, like, he's got an athlete himself, and he's halting boys in their tracks. And the thing that really sold me on it, he did it against the best competition, because him and Broderick Jones played the same guys. The boys that gave Broderick Jones work, the boys that gave Broderick Jones trouble, come see Darnell Wright. Oh, don't worry, I've seen the footage. Will Anderson, consensus number 1 or number 2. Now that Jalen Carter, you know what I'm saying, got into his little, you know what I'm saying, you dig? So now Will Anderson's looked at this guy as the unquestionable number 1 man. Long day in Tennessee, wasn't it, boy? It was a long day, boy, where you been? We was looking for you. It was a long day. BJ Ojulari, shit, it was a long day, playboy. I seen what you did to Broderick Jones. Long day over in Tennessee, though, wasn't it? You know what I'm saying? So he did it, and he did it at the highest level against the best guys in the best conference in college football. Like I said, for everybody. And that's what, when I'm watching it, because I was like, man, am I tripping? Because I'll find a guy that I like, and man, I like him more than anybody else. And then I'm like, man, either I'm tripping or can't nobody else see but me. So I'm like, okay, I get the hype on Broderick Jones because he's he's a guy that could be a specimen. I mean, he's athletically, his size profile, the way he's built and constructed, like, it all looks great. Well, I seen him play the same guys that Darnell Wright did, and boys gonna have highlight plays on. Broderick Jones gonna be in somebody's highlight footage when you breaking down Will Anderson. Broderick Jones is gonna be in BJ Ojulari's highlight footage when somebody's in the draft room. You know who's not gonna be on any of them films? Darnell Wright not gonna be there. When you was looking at Will Anderson, you didn't see Darnell Wright one time in that film, boy. When you looking at BJ Ojulari, you didn't see Darnell Wright one time play, boy. You know what I mean? So that tells he can do it at the top. That's another thing I liked about Rashawn Slater, is because, like, Penei Sewell had the size, the speed, and that was the guy Chop had number 1. Specimen, a moving mountain, dancing bear, another guy. Yeah, but I saw Rashawn Slater shut down Chase Young, who you know what I'm saying, who was an absolute, who was Thanos. Chase Young could have been Thanos at DN in college. Didn't want no parts of Rashawn Slater, though. Told me all I need to know. Who he's gonna block? Who is he blocking in the league is better than this? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So I've seen him against the guys that are going to be at the top, and I've seen him play against them. I've saw him compete, and I've saw him win. I've saw him win against these guys. You know what I'm saying? So for everything Skoronski gives me technically, his hand placement, his athleticism, his foot speed, he moves well. He does everything except get in the ring and put the gloves on. Because all that shit looks pretty hitting the bag. You ever see somebody on a speed bag and get dropped in the first 30 seconds of the first round? You know what I'm saying? Because at some point, you got to get in the ring and put them gloves on, boy. You know what I'm saying? Darnell Wright might be Andy Ruiz, boy. He showed up looking sloppy and put them paws on Anthony Joshua, who looked like Adonis. You know what I'm saying? He looked like an Adonis statue. He looked like Hercules. Got them paws put on him. You know what I mean? And so that's the thing for Darnell Wright for me. He puts them paws on you, boy. Man, you can cancel Christmas. If he gets them hands on you, you get into his chest, he's gonna take his 2 steps, he's gonna settle and sit down. And now we just gonna talk. Where you going, Playboy? No, I got where you. What's up, man?
Now we just gonna talk.
What you doing after this? Man, I hope your
girl. How you living, bro? How you living?
Your girl to Tennessee, cuz? Man, no, it's a bad day. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's what Darnell Wright does for me, man. I love that guy. I love him. I do. He actually played left tackle last year. They moved him to right tackle, and I looked at a little bit of that as well. But even the fact that he's played both sides, and so depending on scheme or whatnot. Now, here's the thing I will say. It was probably all good. I don't like him. They used him to pull and move in space, and I think they just asked him to do something he's just not built to do, because he doesn't move as well in space. Like when they run like a power counter, and so now he's pulling and running. That's just not. I think they asked him to go outside himself because those reps are ugly. Because, like I said, man, he's just not a great puller. That's just not an aspect of his game. But you know what? I don't need him to pull. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna ask Steph Curry to line up at the low post. If that ain't what he does, stay out there and be a butterfly, Steph. I don't need you in here. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna ask him to do that. And so, but yeah, I did love this guy's film, man. And so I got him, man. I got him at number 2. I love this dude. Last thing I'm gonna say, man, the hustle play. I'm watching Alabama, and when I seen him chase down end zone intercept, I had to shout this out. I made even a video. Y'all might have seen on TikTok. I need to follow that TikTok if you ain't. I talked about it then. There's an interception in the end zone by Hendon Hooker. DB's running down the end zone, trying to get his ear read on. Who makes the play 60 yards later? It's 335-pound Darnell Wright. That forces him out on the sideline, up the right sideline, 60 yards later. Darnell Wright at 6'5", 6'6", 335 pounds. And so that gave me everything I needed. He's got mean, he's got some nasty, he's got some power, he's got some he can put them paws on you, and he's got effort. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you right now. I don't know how many other boys, 335 pounds, boys, that's gonna put that work in like that. That might have been a 6 somewhere else. It wasn't a 6. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they scored after that, but it wasn't a 6 not on Darnell Wright's watch.
Not while he was on the field.
Now while he's on the field. And so yeah, man. So things like that as well, man. So man, I was a huge fan of Darnell Wright. And I was like, man, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm putting him at number 2, man. I might sound a little crazy, but I gotta go. I liked everything I saw, man. I really did. Well, not to say there's not some flaws there, but I like what I saw, and especially when you know what I'm saying, like, you know, you get him in and put him in a scheme that's going to accentuate the things he does best. But I have no problem dropping him in on the right side of my line and feeling very good with my quarterback dropping back 30 times a game. Like, I don't have no worries at all. Yeah.
All right, well, Jack, I love it, man. I love it. I love it when you step out on a limb, man. You know, I'm known to do that every once in a while too, man.
Yeah.
But go ahead, give me your number 1. I got a feeling who it's gonna be.
For sure. Oh yeah.
Pretty much gave me your idea, man. Go ahead and drop your number 1 on me.
Exactly right, man. So this is where I circle back to Paris Johnson, man. And so number 1 for me. Now here's the thing, just like Chop said. So he's the guy for me. I think he has his floor. I think his floor is very good. Like I said, it's higher than Broderick Jones in my opinion. And so I think his floor is commensurate with even the guy on the other side of the offensive line that I was a big fan of, DeWan Jones. So I don't have an issue with his floor, but I think his ceiling I put at the very highest because he's the prototype. Like if I'm building offensive tackle, just size, weight, speed, length, he's the guy I build. When you put it out, man, I need to do with long ass arms, built pretty thick, but proportionate, can move. You know what I'm saying? Tall, not too tall, heavy, not too heavy. 6'6", 310 lean pounds, and his wingspan was the second longest wingspan to DeWan Jones. DeWan Jones' wingspan was like, for somebody that's like 7'8", and then I think Paris Johnson Jr.'s arm length was like 36 and a half. And you want like 33 is the cutoff line between small arms and decent arms for tackles. That's why Skoronski's at 32. And so 33 is the cutoff. 34 is great. 34 is ideal. He's got 36 tree limb arms. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, and he's an athlete. You know what I mean? And just like Chop said, man, Chop hit a lot of the high points. I love him in the run game. And he's a guy as well. He transitioned to guard from right guard to left tackle, which is super valuable. Because the thing about Skoronski is that what I hear a lot of guys say is, well, he's a tackle, but even if it doesn't work at tackle, he can play guard. Well, I don't know how many live reps I've seen him playing guard, and I still have questions with his guard play. Not with Paris Johnson. The boy could have been around one guard, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? His 2021 Ohio State tape at guard is good guard film. You know what I mean? He's nasty in the run game. He moves people. He can get out in space. He can move and he can run. And then now we've seen him transition to the left. And so he's got it's everything that I like at that point. I like his pad level. Consistently drives his feet. Like once he gets engaged, sometimes when guys latch on, the play is over. But not for a guy like this. You know what I'm saying? Because he's still driving his feet. He's still looking to finish. Just my dog Chop said, man, I wrote it down myself. Moves very well to the second level. Make sure he finds a target. I absolutely hate when I see tackle guard, whoever, when I see a puller, because in my mind, big boy, big dog, you 300 plus pounds, you 320 pounds. We didn't ask you to run for 8 yards. Somebody got to pay, big dog. Somebody got to pay. Find somebody. You got to fit somebody up, man. And so he's a guy like, man, he's like, hey, look, man, y'all brought me over here. Somebody getting it. Somebody get some of this work, man. I came over. So he moves well. He's looking to find a target. I think he's gonna be. I would look like, and I think he's gonna be a elite zone run blocker. Like I could just see him now. Like I mean, we talk. I mean, I hate that we just keep doing this, but we talk about guys like Trent Williams, and you know what? I don't feel bad for it no more because he's the guy that's set the standard.
Yeah,
Kudos to Trent Williams.
especially when it comes to run blocking.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is a guy. He's an athlete like that, and he's got some umph with him. We know maybe not Trent Williams, but he's got something with him when he gets there. You know what I'm saying? Like these are the guys, man. Like we're like that style of scheme, that like wide zone schemes are just. I think he's gonna thrive in that type of thing. I still do think that he can increase his anchor, or he can stand to improve on his own anchor just against just pure power. But like I said, but these are things that it's not a detriment to the length of what I felt like I saw from Skoronski. I really think I don't know if I saw him sit down with anybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about guys that I didn't know who the rusher was across from him. This guy looks like I need to know I need to know this guy's name. You know what I'm saying? Skoronski's 4 yards deep in his quarterback's lap. A lot when he gets power, he's 4 yards back. It doesn't matter who is across from him. If you give him power, you're gonna walk him to the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So, that's how I felt. But no, man, I liked his. I liked from his athletic profile, his size, weight, speed, and all that good stuff, his length, his floor, and then his ceiling as well. Like I said, it's not that his film is necessarily the cleanest, but he's the guy that when it's all said and done, I really think that he'll prove to be the very best of the bunch. One more knock, man. I think I may have went too positive, but I think he can like overset where if you anticipate a guy's going to give you speed outside, and so now instead of getting your true depth and your true drop set, now you almost come out at a 45 or even at a 30 because you're worried about somebody giving you a wide 9 rush, and so you overset to kind of cancel that. Well, but the thing about that is it does make you susceptible to somebody just give me one of those, and now he comes back inside. You kind of open the gate a little bit. And so I saw a couple instances where he overset and rushers went for the inside, you know what I'm saying, went for the inside counter. But the good thing about it is I thought he had great recovery. And so he may have lost that inside for a second, and he recovers and runs and is able to recover. And so there's just I saw effort, I saw size, I saw enough technique. I saw power. Like he checked all those boxes for me, and he's a guy that, like I said, he's ascending. He played right guard last year. This is his first year at left tackle, and I think he's the best one in this group. And so, like I said, this is the guy. The arrows pointing up. He's got 2 arrows pointing up, and so Paris Johnson is where I went for number 1 for your boy.
For sure, yeah, and that says a lot for a guy who's only played offensive left tackle for a year. You know, he still has a lot to learn. Which, was the reason why I do agree with you, Willie Jack. He has a very, very high ceiling. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't mad at you there. I ain't mad at you for having him number 1, man, because he's gonna get coached up. But man, my number 1 guy is a guy I feel like is ready. He ready from jump. You know what I'm saying? I think he's the most polished technique wise, and it is Peter Skoronski, man. And I heard you, Willie Jack. I heard you and everything that you said.
And that's not a bad choice. It's hard to argue because, like you said, like I get it. I do get it. But yeah, I feel you for sure.
Yeah, and to be fair, that was my one knock against him as well. That was my one knock. And honestly, I felt like you said a lot like this was more so of a it could be a Rashawn Slater. You know what I'm saying? Now, he may not have the highest ceiling of all the guys that are on this list, but he has the highest floor for sure, in my opinion. Okay? I think he shows great footwork off the line of scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? And I think he shows good patience, you know, and pass rush technique, you know, while allowing the defender to get to their moves. You know, he lets them do whatever they do whatever they're gonna do. You know, he just sits there patiently, waits till they get into the move, and then is able to, you know, engage. You know what I'm saying? It's not one of those guys where he's out of position, he has to react and then he's getting caught off guard. You know, he does a good job of getting his depth. I think he sits with a good base, you know, that allows him to anchor down on a lot of those bull rushes. Now, I did see him get bull rushed a couple of times, but I think for the most part, what we see a lot of is him being able to anchor down a lot, you know, with his size and his low center of gravity and the way that his base is. Like I said, very sound technique. I think good play recognition skills.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was one play that I watched that I saw him, and you know how a lot of defenses, they'll bring multiple guys to the line of scrimmage. You don't know who's coming. Mm-hmm. He does a good job of doing what he needs to do as far as getting his base, and moving and utilizing his eyes to see, all right, what's going on, and then adjusting on the fly. I think that's one thing that I didn't see a lot from the tackles in this draft that he does very well. Um, and then he gets to the next level with solid quickness too. And also is good. Another one of those guys that's good with angles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, the lack of length, may be one of his only weaknesses because of his lack of length that forces him to be perfect with his legs and his body control and his patience. Okay. He doesn't have the luxury or the insurance that a lot of these other guys have with their size, with their arms and all those different things. A lot of those guys have that, so for him, it's like he has to be in great position. He has to position himself perfectly in front of you in order to, get the best block on you, which he does a lot, but he's going to have to do that at the next level, at the same level that he did it, in college. He's going to have to continue to do that because, like I said, he doesn't have that length or, some of the same athletic ability that some of the other guys have, so he's going to have to be really, really good and perfect at it with his technique. And to be honest, I viewed him as more so of the offensive, and maybe this is not the correct one because I don't think Aiden Hutchinson had any like faults, but I think he's like the offensive Aiden Hutchinson, in comparison to the other guys. So how Aiden Hutchinson, he was like he's a guy. He had the technique. He had everything. He
No,
was needed.
the guys question his arm length as well, as far as just not even having the length as a rusher.
But you had the Trayvon Walkers that was like, okay, if this guy blows up,
yeah,
he's gonna be something special. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I think this is a similar comparison. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you can go wrong with Peter Skoronski or Paris Johnson, in my opinion. I think either of these guys, they're gonna have their things. You know what I'm saying? I think Paris Johnson, like I said, has the higher ceiling, so you can work with him if you can get it. Another guy, you get him with somebody that's gonna get him right. I think he's gonna be great for you. You know what I'm saying? But if you go with Peter Skoronski, I think you got a guy that's ready to go right now as well. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the comparison that I give. You got the Aiden Hutchinson, that's the A minus across the board, B plus across the board, and then you got the Paris Johnson that is A plus in certain areas, maybe a B minus in certain areas, but once he gets coached up, he may be A pluses, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So
I get what you're trying to say. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a difference in their games, a lot more disparity, but I went with the consistency, man. I'm the consistent guy, man. I like the consistency. I like the technique. I like the form. I went with Peter Skoronski, man, as my number one tackle.
and honestly, man, and I was like, I really do get it, because like if you like technique wise, his hands, like he's got good enough burst. He climbs to the second level. I think it was like that. I think that Penn State game for me just looked ugly. I feel like I want to say it was Penn State. I feel like he got like just walked into the quarterback. I feel like he was on the ground a lot in that game as well for some reason. I thought that was just a rough game. But I do see what you're saying though. Like you said, man, like when you watch him, it's like, nah, he's a pro. Like you're watching the pro guy.
He's a pro.
He's a pro. Like so I really do get it. But that's the thing, is like, if you do have that weakness like you have, like, because I don't know what he can do to get around it, because he's so technically proficient. Like I think his ceiling is almost his floor. Now, of course, there's going to be some growth there because he is going to a higher level. He's going to have a higher level of coaching. He's going to get maybe naturally a little stronger himself, relative to his own self. He's going to continue to develop a little more strength. So, but he's a guy where he's almost a finished product. And so I'm like, man, I don't know if they're going to teach him how to get over that length, like the way the length shows up for him, because he doesn't have like I didn't think I saw like just that raw power to overcome the length to anchor down, even though guys are getting into you. So it's like, man, I just don't know how you fix it. That's I was like, man, how do we fix that? And I didn't have an answer. That's why I was like, man, I don't know.
It's also a guy, man. He's been short all his life, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's true too. That's true too. That's what they say about Bryce Young. Like, hey, man, good news is about Bryce Young. He been 5'10" for 22 years. So you know what I'm saying. So that's a good point, man. Did you have a honorable mention or anybody you want to shout out, or a guy that almost made the list or anything like that?
The other guy that I was debating on in terms of making this list was Anton Harrison, man.
Mm-hmm.
Anton Harrison, the tackle out of Oklahoma. 6'4", 315, man. He's a guy that was right there. I had him, and actually those last three guys, man. I know you had Darnell Wright towards the top, man, but my 4, 5, and 6 guys were guys I was kind of thinking about going back and forth with.
Yeah.
And Anton Harrison, man, was a guy that just missed my list that I think deserves a little bit of recognition. He's a guy that has some good talent as well, and could make some noise for sure.
No, and I had the same guy, Anton Harrison. I think I had him right there, just missing out. 6'5", 315. And so the thing about him is that, for one, I think he's a very good athlete. I think he's just got a good just baseline of just his athletic side, or just his athleticism and very good size. 6'5", 315 is built, more or less kind of prototype what you're looking for. I thought he had a solid anchor in his pass pro, but I didn't like the thing about him is, like, I think he can improve his hand placement and also like his hand strength, because like guys disengage. What I write down here? Yeah, I think I said he needs to improve his play strength. Like he does a good job of getting his hands on guys, but whereas DeWine Jones puts his hands on you, go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Darnell Wright puts his hands on you, boy, you can go to sleep. You know what I mean? Anton Harrison gets his hands on you, he's like, oh snap, he's got me. But ping ping, you know what I'm saying? And now I can disengage and still go make a play. And so, like I said, like just hand strength, just play strength there. Like I said, I didn't see like much just pop in his hands. You know what I'm saying? And so just like things like that. Let me see. But now one thing I do want to shout out though, going back to his athleticism, he's got phenomenal mirror ability. So he's got very good like agility, or the ability to like just kind of like when we talk about dancing bears. You know what I'm saying? Like he can match, he can mirror, you know what I'm saying? He can stay with you, he can step to step, he can side to side. So he's a very good athlete that way. And like I said, I think like play strength. And then he was the guy for me that he was good at a lot, but he wasn't great at anything. Like I couldn't figure out, I didn't really see anything that he's great at. You know what I'm saying? Like, with either of these guys, like Skoronski, if we call it out, like he's got great technique. You know what I'm saying? Like, and some of these other guys, they've got great power, they've got great hands, they've got whatever. I don't feel like I saw anything of him that was just great. Everything was just pretty good across the board, and there's nothing wrong with that. But even saying all that, I still think he's a guy that can go in the bottom of the first round. I definitely like anywhere as high as Tampa Bay at 19 or whatnot through the rest of that, those bottom picks. But I still think he's a guy that can, depending on how the tackles go. But I think he could definitely go in the bottom of the first, even though he didn't even make my top 5. So I wanted to shout him out.
For sure. All right, really, Jack. Run your list back one time for me, man. Run your list back.
Yeah, Thursky. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start at the top. Number 1, I had Paris Johnson Jr., left tackle from Ohio State. Number 2, Darnell Wright. Big Daddy Darnell Wright, man. There you go. You heard that first, man. Darnell Big Daddy Wright, man, from the University of Tennessee. Number 3, man, with an asterisk now. With an asterisk for Peter Skoronski. I got Peter Skoronski at 3. I feel like we went pretty deep, man, explaining my reasoning why. But still, like I said, man, that amount of technique, that experience, man, it's hard to. I've been crazy to go too much lower than that. But Peter Skoronski at 3. Number 4, I've got DeWine Jones. And number 5 for me, man, rounding it out, I had Broderick Jones from Georgia.
For sure. And I start from my number 1 too. I had Peter Skoronski at my number 1. That's my number 1 guy. 2, Paris Johnson Jr. And then number 3, I had Broderick Jones. Number 4, DeWine Jones. And then my number 5, I had Darnell Wright out of Tennessee, man. So yeah. There you have it, Willie Jack. There you have it, man. I think that's it, and that's all, man. What actually, before we go into it, man, what's up, man? I think I called out. No, you called out the offensive tackles, man, last week. What you think? How about we stay in the trenches, man, and go to the other side, man? How about we do edge?
Hey, there you read my mind. You read my mind, man. Exactly where I was thinking as well. Say edge rushes it is. Yeah, and it's exciting too, man. Because it's some guys here, man. That yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see, but it's a couple guys here, man, that I've got to take a peek at, man. And so I'm excited to full-fledged dive into them now, man. That's official. So yeah, I can't wait.
For sure, for sure. All right, Willie Jack. Well, that's it. That's all, man. Bring us on home, my dog.
Dang, man, I feel bad. Man, Brother Red, man, dog, he had a good question earlier to start the show, and I told him I was going to get back to it once we actually got through the news, got the O-line, and I didn't. Really quick, I'm going to read your question, Brother Red, because you day one game, man, I got you. He said, has Dallas become a destination for drafting and developing O-linemen? The kid, Smith, they got last year was a stud. And I know exactly what he's talking about. Man, now I can't say his name. Not Trey Smith. He was the guy that filled in for left tackle last year. But that's a very good comment, man. And so they've done a good job there. Going back even before, this Smith kid who I cannot remember his name, and he's actually going to take over officially at left tackle. Tyron Smith is coming back. They're moving him officially to the right side, and then Terrence Steele is going to be the swing tackle between the two.
Tyler Smith.
Tyler Smith. There we go. Tyler Smith. Thank you, bro. And so that's interesting to say, man, because we've seen Dallas kind of has an eye for O-linemen. So we've seen Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith, who played right tackle at USC, mind you, and they converted him to left tackle when he got to Dallas. Because there was another guy that played left also got drafted by the Vikings. I can't remember his name, but Tyron Smith in that right tackle, moving to left. Zach Martin playing left guard or left tackle, transitioning him to right guard. Tyler Biadasz, I think his name was, the center they had before he ended up having to retire from a condition that popped up like a year and a half or 2 years ago. I want to say it was Tyler Biadasz. No. Oh, gosh, I can't think of that name, but they're center. But the point being that they've shown, especially here recently, shout out to Will McClay, not shout out to Jerry Jones, not shout out to Stephen Jones. Shout out to Will McClay, the unnamed GM who really does his thing with the Cowboys, man. Nobody can ever question that roster. You can question a lot of stuff over, but not the roster. So that's Will McClay holding that down. But man, yeah, they've got something cooking over there, man, as far as their eye for offensive line talent. And so, yeah, you may be on to something, man. I want to say all that to say, yeah, there may be something to that, man. So, like I said, their recent track record is like the guys they've turned in and out of there speaks to that. So, yeah, not a bad point at all. But yeah,
for sure.
All right. Now that the sponsorship is out the way, because that question was brought to you by Brother Red of No Vultures, the podcast, man. Check my dog out, man. Wide assortment of topics over there, man, from sports to hip hop, sports across the board though. Boxing, football, basketball, baseball, man. He bounces around. He also has a very hip hop feel to his content as well, man. So that's one of the sponsors, man, holding us down, man. That's No Vultures, the podcast. Y'all tap in with my dog. And other than that, that's it. That's all, man. We appreciate all the love support as always, man. Real quick with the rundown, man. Like I already just said, Brother Red from Nova Podcast was in the building. Day one gang Jarrell was in the building. Scott Dolan was in the building. Man, a couple more of y'all was in here, man. But I'm sorry, I'm over time. Y'all know what's going on, so you can say it with me, man. If I forgot to say your name, damn. Charge it to my head, man. Don't charge it to my heart. You know we thinking about you, big dog. We appreciate all the love and support, man. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, we don't wear no watches, play bucket. We ain't got nowhere to be, but right in here, kicking football flavor, man, chopping it up with the folks, man, doing what we love to do. We will be right back next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. We're going to talk about edge rushers, man. I'm excited to break it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chop's got a special place in his heart for the cornerbacks, man. I got a special place in my heart for the linebackers and edge rushers, man. So can't wait to get into that, man. Chop it up with the folks, man. Film. Y'all know what's going on, man. Y'all know what's going on with us. And so without further ado, we will be back, man, Wednesday at 7. Y'all tap in. Y'all stay safe till then, man. We appreciate you. Peace.